The Jake Asman Show will begin shortly. Thanks to all these great Patreon members who help support the show. Get your SuperChats ready. Jake will be here in just a moment. If you love the New York Jets, this is the place to be. And now, the Jake Asman Show.
The New York Jets have reportedly made Aaron Glenn a, quote, substantial offer. Plus, Glenn has told people he's taking the Jet job. So what's the holdup? We'll talk about the latest. It is the Jake Asman Show. Let's hit it and get it started. Man, our Jets are primed to win another offseason, baby. Jets green each and every day. Will the playoff drought finally end? Who's the coach? Who's the GM? Who's the quarterback? At least we have Garrett Wilson. We have Breece Hall. Please subscribe and hit the like button below. Super Chat, baby. Cut the line. We have Sauce Gardner. We have Quinn Williams. Prepare to be underdogs. Now it's time to talk all things New York Jets. It's the Jake Asman Show. Here we go. Another day of thinking Aaron Glenn's going to be the Jet coach. Hasn't happened yet. Plus, Lance Newmark, he's supposed to be the GM. Still officially waiting on that. We have a lot to talk about in the meantime. Some names being linked to Aaron Glenn's staff, and we'll break all that down. But first, reminder, hit the subscribe button and make sure you like the video. Plus, I'm going to throw it out there. If your brand, your business is interested in advertising on this show, shoot me an email, asmanjake@gmail.com. And we still do have some sponsorship packages available for our broadcast live from Radio Row in New Orleans 10 days from right now. Joining us right now to talk all things Jets is the co-host of the Believe in Jets podcast with former Jet running back Bilal Powell. Rami Lavi joins us now. What's up, Rami? Rami, I can't hear you.
I should know how to do this by now, you'd think, right? Thanks for having me, Jake. Appreciate it.
I appreciate you coming on as always, man. So a lot to talk about with Glenn. Let's just update people on a report that came out last night from Jordan Schultz of Fox Sports. Schultz saying that Aaron Glenn left the Jet building yesterday. He flew back to Detroit on Woody Johnson's plane. There was no deal reached, but a substantial offer was made, and the Jets job is, quote, his if he wants it. There was also a report from Josina Anderson that Aaron Glenn has told people he's taken the job. He's currently putting together a coaching staff and some names on here that are definitely going to intrigue Jet fans. The offensive coordinator could potentially be Lions quarterback coach Mark Brunell if he doesn't replace Ben Johnson in Detroit, and former Jet special teams coach Mike Westhoff could be an option should he decide to come out of retirement. Plus, Aaron Glenn apparently wants to hire a veteran defensive coordinator who has been a former NFL head coach. So I'll tell you what, I really do like this plan if they could actually pull this off, because I'm someone who kind of lukewarm to the idea of another first-time coach with a defensive background. But it's going to come down to his coaching staff, and some of the names early on here, they do intrigue me as a Jet fan. Your thoughts on that, Rami?
Look, obviously, if you're going to go the direction of a first-time head coach, and again, I don't think it's the right decision, I will still be rooting for him, and I don't know where that's gotten confused amongst Jets fans, where for some reason, if you're a fan of the team, you have to love every decision they make. No, I can disagree. I'm allowed to disagree, and I disagree with this decision. I think it's the wrong choice for the head coach. I think he could be a great head coach elsewhere, but I disagree that you should bring in another first-time head coach who has a great relationship with Woody Johnson. I don't want a guy who has a relationship with Woody Johnson. I want a guy who can stand up to Woody Johnson and do things differently. This tells me it's going to be more of the same. I was hoping for a change. But if you're going to bring in a first-time head coach, yes, you have to have veterans around him. You have to have a veteran OC, a veteran defensive coordinator. Obviously, the OC we said will probably be a first-timer, Mark Brunell, but you know, he was the quarterback's coach, I guess, until now in Detroit. You have to have someone who's a veteran. You have to have someone, like you said, especially a special teams coach, where you see a lot of special teams coach kind of freelance as the assistant head coach sometimes. When a coach gets fired, who's the first guy that usually becomes the interim head coach? It's usually the special teams coordinator. So having a guy who's a veteran, who's been there before, as much as I love Brand Boyer and I would love to have him remain as the special teams coordinator, I understand going a different direction there.
Look, ultimately, Aaron Glenn might be awesome. He might stink, but I think what doomed Saleh was his coaching staff, especially on the offensive side of the ball. So if you're a defensive coach, you have to nail the OC hire. So the name Mark Brunell, it intrigues me because he's been a quarterback coach for a while under the tutelage of Dan Campbell and Ben Johnson, right? So the Lions have one of the most innovative offenses. I mean, Brunell was essentially at the end of his career with the Jets a player coach to Mark Sanchez. That was literally his role when they signed him before the 2010 season. So he would intrigue me. There's some other names out there for the OC position that I'm also keying in on. A name to watch is apparently Nick Caley. Also, Scott Turner is another name out there. Turner's been linked to the Tar Heels job under Belichick, so I don't know if he's truly available. But, some of the names coming out are interesting. But the way the Jets have treated Aaron Glenn, it's basically his show. Like, he's getting full run at doing it however he wants to do it, which is fine, but they better be right, basically.
Exactly. And, I actually don't think Saleh got the OC wrong. I thought Mike LaFleur was a good offensive coordinator, and he got ran out of town because the quarterback stunk. That was right. So, again, look at what he did in LA afterwards. And I know it's under Sean McVay, so, okay, easy. But still, I thought every quarterback who played under him that wasn't Zach Wilson looked really good. So I don't even think they got the OC wrong in that situation. But that's exactly the point. You're handing the keys over to another first-time guy so that when it goes wrong, Woody can say, all right, let me play with the toy again and let me do all the things and tell you what to do. That's what it looks like. It looks like they're not willing to go the route of a veteran or even a guy like Brian Flores, where people say, oh, well, he failed elsewhere. And he's also a defensive guy, but he's from New York. You know why he failed, quote unquote, in Miami? Because he defied ownership. He didn't want to do everything they did. He wanted to draft Justin Herbert when they wanted Tua. He was too hard on the players. That's what they need. They need someone to come in and set a culture. This just feels like a move where, hey, we're going to be selling a bunch of Mark Brunell and Aaron Glenn jerseys to the fans because we got all the fans fired up for this new season. And it's funny, your open has prepared to be underdogs going into next year. By the time we get to August, Jets fans will hype themselves so up for this coach and general manager situation that they have now that we're not even going to be underdogs anymore. To be like, oh, Rodgers is back. Last year was just a disaster. This year's going to be better. And all of a sudden people are going to be like, oh, we're favorites again. It's crazy to me how we do the same thing over and over again. We never learn.
That's my feeling too, just as far as like first-time coach once again. Like, to me, this should be a job for someone experienced. And okay, if you're going to hire a first-time coach, then I felt like the GM should be someone with previous general manager experience. And as
the GM
now,
to me is worse.
Well, and as of right now, it feels like we're going to have two first-timers coming in, and I just don't feel like that is a risk the Jets can afford to take. I mean, they don't care what you or I think, but to me, they interviewed all these guys, right? And you're going to end up with just two first-timers, and, maybe there's a director of football operation hire that's coming too, but as of now, going off of what's been reported, that doesn't appear to be the case. So it really does feel like the New York Jets are going to have a first-time general manager and a first-time head coach. And when it comes to Newmark, why is he the guy? Just because he's friends with Aaron Glenn? Just because they get along? Like, I'm sorry. If Aaron Glenn is such a great candidate and all these people have interviewed for the job would be able to see that, then why do we have to give the job to Newmark necessarily? Like, why not have more interviews and do more than just 1 second-round interview with one GM candidate and truly determine who the best guy is for the job and not just let Aaron Glenn essentially pick his GM? I understood doing that for Vrabel. Aaron Glenn's never been a head coach before. He gets to pick his GM. He's not Bill Parcells. I hope he is, but right now he's not. So that's what frustrates me too. It's like they're just giving all this power to Glenn because he's their guy, but there's no evidence to support the fact that he's a great head coach. He's never done it before.
Exactly. And again, I hope he's the right guy. I hope he's a great head coach. Like, don't get me wrong on that. I will be rooting for him. But this just shows me that it's more of the same. We're pairing him with Lance Newmark, a first-time guy who, by the way, was in Detroit for 26 years, 23 of which they were one of the joke franchises, one of the worst franchises in the NFL. So all of a sudden, over the last 3 years, when Brad Holmes showed up, Now, all of a sudden, he has this great reputation. What was he doing the first 23 years? Why didn't he change anything then? Or was it really just Brad Holmes did everything when he came from LA? And now, okay, maybe he has some credibility. I don't know. He goes to Washington, obviously. They draft Jaden Daniels. But what did Washington do? They went out and got a former head coach to be their OC. They went out and got a former conference winning, granted, one of the worst collapses in Super Bowl history, but they got him as a head coach to come in. Like, they did it the right way, and now we're just going to the same thing, and it feels like a move. And again, you could tell me I'm wrong, but this feels like a move that Woody Johnson is not willing to relinquish his control yet. And that's been the problem with this franchise for 25 years, is that he can't give up his control to football people. And by hiring first-time people who don't have this great reputation, he still has his hold on the leash and could say, okay, you know, when you guys start to go astray a little bit, or what he deems to be astray a little bit, he gets to take the reins back and make decisions himself. And I don't want that. I want a departure from that.
The one thing I'll say about Newmark, like, yeah, he was with the Lions for a while, but it's not like he was like the guy for that long.
I understand.
You know, like he has a lot of experience and he survived some regimes there, but you know, I'm not going to put the Lions mess on him, right? Obviously, Adam Peters thought highly of him enough to make him his number 2 in Washington when he got that job. So
I understood.
You know, Newmark might be awesome, but it's once again the faith this organization is showing in Aaron Glenn, who I get it was a great Jet player and has an awesome resume and has great leadership traits, but has never been a head coach. It's wild to me. I can't remember a guy who has never, who's only been a coordinator, getting what seemingly is this much power right off the bat, besides Shanahan, Kyle Shanahan, when he left Atlanta and basically got to pick John Lynch to go with him to San Francisco. But at least Shanahan had like way more of a proven track record as an offensive mastermind than Aaron Glenn. Like, Aaron Glenn's a good defensive coordinator. I don't think we're talking about him the way we were Rex Ryan, for example, when the Jets hired him in 2009.
Yes. No, yeah, exactly. And like even Ben Johnson, who's putting together a super team and he's getting to make all these decisions in Chicago. Well, the quarterback's already there. The GM's already there. So how much is he really doing, right? This is crazy. This makes no sense to me, what they're doing. Again, you're treating him like he's Bill Belichick, essentially. Like, oh my God, we got the guy. You got the guy? Where's the other teams lining up? And I know the Saints would probably hire him if the Jets don't, but is there a list of teams that are lining up to sign Aaron Glenn, or is it just the 2 teams that he played for, the organizations that he was a part of? Like, I don't understand it. I don't understand the running to appease Aaron Glenn as if he's this top candidate. And I know he's wanted the job for a while now. And I talked to Bilal about that, you know, a few weeks ago, almost a couple months ago now, that, yep, Aaron Glenn wants this job. And why wouldn't he? I hope he's successful, and I'm happy for him. And good Jet player, all that stuff is true. But again, it doesn't make sense how the Jets are handling this situation, and it's frustrating.
They got to be right. I mean, they're putting so much faith in Aaron Glenn, who is qualified to be a head coach. I question whether or not he's qualified to basically dictate the terms of his GM and the organization. You know what I mean? Like, I get it. They love him, but it's like they're treating him the way they were going to treat Vrabel. Mike Vrabel's an accomplished NFL head coach who's been to an AFC championship game, who's been the 1 seed in the AFC playoffs, who's won multiple division titles. Like, Aaron Glenn has been a good defensive coordinator and a really good player.
And he's handling it that way, it seems like, himself, because where is he right now, right? Like, the contract negotiations stalled. So apparently after, like you said, a substantial offer, he's still feeling like, oh, wait, no, I need a bigger offer, or I need to weigh my options. Is that what's happening right now? Where he, like,
I don't think it's that. I think it's the agent trying to just milk as much as he can get out of Woody with this offer. But here's the thing. If for whatever reason it falls through, the Jets have complete egg on their face now. So they almost have to get this done, because if they don't and they then pivot, it is clear that they're pivoting, and it looks awful, because think about it. They have not lined up any second interviews this week. They put all their eggs in the Aaron Glenn basket. So now if they don't hire Aaron Glenn in combination now with Lance Newmark, and Aaron Glenn, let's say, ends up going to the Saints or gets in the mix down in Jacksonville with Liam Cohen pulling his name, like, if that were to happen now, Rami, they look terrible, because they made their decision post-Vrabel. Glenn's their guy, and that's why things picked up so quickly this week, the second the Lions got eliminated, which was not supposed to happen until potentially a few more weeks from now.
Yeah, and 2 things. One, I mean, what is the 33rd team? What were they here for? If the idea was just, hey, we're going to go get Vrabel, who's obviously the number 1 option, and if not, we'll go get Aaron Glenn because we liked him as a player here, then why did we need to go through the whole song and dance of interviewing every single person under the sun? Like, I don't understand what the 33rd team did here. And the second thing is, like, only the Jets, right? I think it's the wrong choice, and they still are somehow messing it up. Only the Jets can mess up the wrong choice.
I think you're a little tough. They haven't messed it up yet. All right. I'm not like
that. Okay.
If they don't get them, then I think it looks terrible.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, fair. I'm not in love with this hire, but I don't think they messed it up. But if he's their guy, then you got to get this done because you have nothing else lined up, and it will look terrible if you pivot now and you bring in someone else. I mean, unless it's Brian Flores, I hope it doesn't work, but that doesn't feel like it's happening. It feels like it'd be Arthur Smith. So at that point, I would take Aaron Glenn over Arthur Smith.
No, I agree with you. Again, this isn't an anti-Aaron Glenn thing, and that's the problem. Like, I think Aaron Glenn could actually go to New Orleans and be extremely successful. I just think the situation that you're walking into, where you have an owner who's meddled with the last few regimes, you have a quarterback situation, whether I don't know what's happening, whether they decide to keep him. It sounds like Aaron Glenn wants to keep Aaron Rodgers. That's going to be the first riff with Woody Johnson because Woody Johnson doesn't want to keep him. So how does that happen? How does that transpire? So all those situations, like, you have a very delicate situation here in New York. You have players who are kind of on the edge of whether they want to continue with this franchise, and they are all coming up on contracts, but there's a lot of young, talented players here. I just think it's a very delicate situation. And for a first-time guy to have to deal with all that and then also still go out there and coach a good football team that should have enough talent to win a few games, it's just, I think it's too much for a first-time guy, and that's my problem with it. It's not an anti-Aaron Glenn thing.
Hit the like button if you're just tuning in. Comments, questions, super chats. We'll cut the line. Another day to get entered in our raffle. If you gift the membership, for every membership you gift, you receive a raffle entry with that amount. Garrett Wilson signed jerseys, the grand prize. An Aaron Glenn signed trading card is another prize. A Breece Hall signed trading card is another prize. And by the way, finally came in, so I don't have to show you a photo of what it looks like. I can show you what it actually looks like. Signed jersey patch, Breece Hall card right here for you. So if interested, gift the membership or send in a $20 super chat here. We are awaiting more info on Aaron Glenn and Lance Newmark. Should it break, we will be covering it, of course, here on the YouTube channel. Dante with a super chat. This cannot be said enough. Mike LaFleur wasn't perfect, but suspiciously every other quarterback seemed to operate the offense better than Wilson. Yeah, in hindsight, LaFleur was a lot better than people realized. Now, let's be fair, though. The last 3 games, he was the offensive coordinator. This team failed to score an offensive touchdown. So it fell apart at the end. Mike White was obviously playing through injuries. Flacco had to start the last game. But LaFleur was way better than Hackett. So, I mean, that goes without saying.
Yeah, like we said, I don't think Saleh got the OC wrong. I think they got the quarterback wrong. And I also don't think Saleh was a great head coach. I think he was a decent head coach, but I don't think he was a great head coach.
He might get the job in Jacksonville now, by the way.
Which is crazy. And you know what's funny? Like, he always talked about, I didn't get the quarterback. Well, now you got the quarterback from that draft that you wanted, right? The number 1 guy in that draft, Trevor Lawrence. Let's see what you do with him.
Robert Saleh, head coach of the Jaguars. How about that? Which it could happen. For those who missed it, Liam Cohen pulled his name. Saleh is one of the 2 other candidates who had a second in-person interview. So, I mean, I probably would pencil him as the favorite based on all the buzz that he has a great relationship with the ownership there.
How much do you think Ulbrich basically and the team falling apart, how much do you think that helped Saleh's candidacy elsewhere for this offseason? Like, that probably helped his reputation greatly, right?
100%. Because think about it. People look at it like it was the Jets, not Saleh. And people completely forget how bad and undisciplined at times the Jets were under Saleh too. So it's like it's all put on Woody and Ulbrich and the mess. And Saleh is the one who escapes this mess looking as good as anyone.
Right. And I mean, his text with Joe Beningo, I don't know if Jacksonville has sports talk radio, but maybe he could find the Joe Beningo of Jacksonville to text with during the season so that he could, relay the private text messages onto the radio down there. That would be fun. But yeah, go ahead,
Rami.
No, I was just going to say, I'm curious to see how that plays out.
Bang Mateo, the birth of Rami Mateo. Bang hates the Jets, so the fact that you're negative on the Glenn hire, he loves it. Story Lynn
love
writes in,
the Jets. Don't get me wrong. I love the Jets and I want it to work. Like, that's the thing. Like, I don't understand that you're not allowed to criticize the team just because you love the team and you want them to be successful. You're not allowed to criticize when you think it's going wrong. I think it's wrong. I'm rooting for him. I want them to be good, but I'm allowed to think it's wrong.
Story Lynn, since they didn't get their deals yesterday, is there any chance out there for Rex? Rex is not getting this job, Story Lynn. It's just not happening.
You know what's funny? If they do end up failing and they have egg on their face and the rest of the candidates are like, oh no, screw you, we don't want to be second choice, they might have to go to Rex Ryan.
Rex Ryan will not be the head coach of the Jets.
I agree. I agree, but maybe he's the veteran DC that they're talking about.
Look, if Rex's ego would allow him to do it, I don't think it's crazy.
I would take it. Yeah. I think that's actually smart. Yep.
I don't know if Rex would do it, you know?
No, I don't think so either.
Now, I'll tell you where I could see Rex. If the rumors are true that Brian Schottenheimer has a legit chance to be the next Cowboys head coach, I could see Rex being the DC of the Cowboys. He interviewed for that job a couple of years ago. They didn't choose him. And I think Rex under Schotty would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's so funny. You know, Jerry Jones kind of runs the team the way we would do a Madden team, where it's like, hey, I know that name from back in the day. Let's interview him. You know what I mean? But okay, let's see if that works out for them.
Super chat from Dan. Zac Efron and John Stamos had a baby. That's pretty good. If you're the love child of Zac Efron and John Stamos, you're doing something right, Rami.
Oh, he's talking about me. All right, I'll take it. Thank you.
I mean, you were at the game last night in Brooklyn. Knicks Nets, Sydney Sweeney was there. I'm just saying, maybe something happened.
Yeah, I tried to make my way down to courtside, but it didn't work out. I was standing in the media level. She was kind of like off to the corner to my left. So I was trying to get through, but somehow there were a couple people got in the way. Let me tell you, of all the people courtside, because they didn't show, obviously, Spike Lee and Ben Stiller and all these guys were also there. All the Knicks guys were there, but they didn't show them on the big screen because it's obviously Barclays Center. There was no one who was getting asked to take more pictures than Sydney Sweeney. I'll tell you that. Every single person stopped them. And by the way, at halftime, I'll give her credit. At halftime, when the entire lower bowl essentially is empty for the first 7 minutes of the third quarter, she was down there. She was back on the court in her seat, ready to go for the second half. So she must be a big ball fan.
Love that. Knicks found a way to win. By the way, rather win ugly than lose pretty. So a win is a win. Second night of a back-to-back. Knicks with 3 days off now, and they desperately need it. They look exhausted.
Last time they had an ugly win was against Charlotte on that weird like Friday day game in Charlotte.
Oh yeah,
and
it was Black Friday. I did the Michael K show that day. Yep.
They ripped off 13 of their next 15 after that. So maybe we'll see.
Let's see. City Burt. Why are we not interviewing Cliff or Seattle OC? Well, I don't know. Maybe Cliff turned them down, but like that's my frustration with the process. I don't feel like they've spoken to enough of the top candidates, and we wasted interviews on Mike Loxley and Ron Rivera. Like that to me is crazy. Like Mike McCarthy should be interviewed. Pete Carroll should be interviewed. If they say no, fine, but that hasn't been reported. So someone find me where it came out. Mike McCarthy said no because Samini said he was interested. I had heard he was interested, and they're not even talking to him.
Yeah, I mean, I did see Connor Hughes. When he came on with us on WFN, he said McCarthy was a little bit turned off that they didn't hire him over, they hired Gase over him the last cycle. But he didn't say that he said no. He just said that he was a little frustrated by that at the time. And I think Cliff would be a great choice. Like, offensive guy, probably learned from his mistakes. I don't know if you saw Schrager talked about this, that when Jaden Daniels came in, the first thing he did was, what plays do you want to run? That's what will fit into our system. Those were the day one installs, the things that Jaden does well. That's coaching to your players as opposed to, hey, here's my system. You have to learn it. I think that's a departure from what he did with Kyler Murray. So I think Cliff would be a great choice, but it seems like that's not where they're going.
Ladies and gentlemen, more of your super chats. Iconic aware. It's stupid to see all the other options, but we go this direction. Love AG. We have so many other options. Does Woody plan on going to London knowing he makes this decision and doesn't renew lease? Aaron Glenn better not lose the London game this year. He could be out of a job if Woody wants to repeat history.
Yeah. Well, maybe the loss in the London game was why he didn't get Woody didn't get his London job back.
Interesting. Very interesting. Bo,
yeah.
I don't disagree with Rami to a point. Casting such a dark cloud on what could potentially be a great decision is a risky take. Time will tell. Yeah, I mean, but you're the kind of Jet fan where you'd rather be wrong about not liking this hire than
100%
be right for the sake of being right. Like, you're a fan.
I don't care about being right. My job is to give opinions. I'm going to be wrong 1,000 times. It's okay. I'm okay with being wrong. I've been wrong before. I'll be wrong again. I want to be wrong in this scenario. I just don't think I am.
Peter Castro says, same mistake, different year, clueless organization. I mean, look, you might be right, Peter, and I don't love the hire. The one thing about Glenn is that I do think he is different than Saleh because Aaron Glenn played. Aaron Glenn has a different path than Robert Saleh had. I do think that matters. I do think it matters that Glenn truly wants this job. Like, there's things to like about Glenn. I'm more frustrated with the process that led to all this. And I'm also very turned off by just letting Aaron Glenn essentially do whatever the heck he wants with a GM. And I don't think he's earned the Vrabel treatment. And they're basically treating Glenn like he's Vrabel, and he's not. So I hope he is the next Mike Vrabel, but I have my doubts.
Agreed.
CL Smooth, can we wait until we get more info on the staff? Look, the coaching staff hires are going to define his tenure here. So I agree with that, CL Smooth, but we'll see what he does. We will see. We will see what he does. Some of the names coming out intrigue me. I do think there needs to be a lot of experience. Give me Darren Rizzi as the special teams coordinator. Give me Steve Wilkes as the defensive coordinator. If they hired Brunell as the OC, I'd be open to that. He's never done it, but at least he, would be in line for that type of role. I could see it working. So, time will tell us. Go Super Chats here. But is there one particular coaching staff hire that would make you feel a lot better about Aaron Glenn, Rami?
I don't think it's realistic. I would love to see McCown as the OC. I think he's done a great job, obviously, in Minnesota, but I think that's more realistic if they go with a Brian Flores that you'd bring, because it clearly seems like they want to bring people who already have relationships with each other. I don't think there's a name out there that would be like, oh, wow, that changes everything for me. But yeah, I'd love to see one of these more advanced offensive minds that are more innovative. It feels like we haven't had that the last few years, although Todd Downing was better the second half of the season, but
yeah,
we're comparing him to, the worst. Nate Hackett, right?
Man. All right. A comment we have to address here from a guy by the name of Gary. So Gary writes in, Glenn better than Revis. Then Gary wrote in, I'll bet Jake says Revis is better than Glenn. Hey, Gary, you bet your ass Darrelle Revis was a better player than Aaron Glenn. And if you don't think that, you are, unfortunately, being sent to Stupid Town.
What did I do? Huh? What did I do?
Gary was very mad at me yesterday that I was, not in love with the Aaron Glenn decision. So now he is so far the other way on this that he's going to try and say that arguably the greatest shutdown corner ever in his prime was somehow a worse player than Aaron Glenn. Stop it.
I've never seen still to this day, I've never seen a one-on-one cover corner better than Darrelle Revis in my life. I just haven't seen it.
No, Darrelle Revis in his prime is the best cover corner of all time. He didn't have
and not even for a single game.
Yeah.
I haven't seen for a single game. I haven't seen someone shut down someone the way Revis did for seasons at a time.
Yeah. Look, Revis's career wasn't as dominant as other guys like Dion, for example,
right?
Or Champ
but
Bailey.
His 3-year prime is better than anyone.
Darrelle Revis from 2008 through 2011 is the greatest cover corner in the history of pro football. I really believe that.
Yep.
Let's see. Super chat here from Dante, who checks in. Jake and Rami are realistic because we know this bum of an owner and what he does to coaches. It would break my heart if AG was chewed up and spit out by the Jets. He was my second favorite Jet after Martin. Yeah, that's what's going to suck too. Aaron Glenn's beloved by this fan base, and if it doesn't work out, obviously it's going to stain his reputation among Jet fans, which stinks.
And that's what Boomer talked about the last few weeks. Boomer Esiason obviously played with Aaron, and he says he loves Aaron and he thinks he's a great guy and he thinks he could be a really successful head coach, which is why he thought he shouldn't come to this situation, because it would suck, because we're seeing Saleh get a second chance here. But think about how many guys come in here, get spit out, although think about 2 of the last 3 actually have better situations now. If Saleh does go to Jacksonville, and you have obviously Todd Bowles winning a Super Bowl down in, obviously he wasn't the head coach when they won the Super Bowl, but winning playoff games down in Tampa and going back to the playoffs. So it's not a career ender if he doesn't have success here, but it does your first spot and your first opportunity. If it goes poorly, and it wouldn't necessarily be his fault, it just, it puts negative stamp on your name for the rest of your career. And that would suck. I wouldn't want that for Aaron Glenn.
City Bird. AG was highly penalized. Another head coach with QC issue. Was it quality control issue?
I don't know if it's quality control, but yeah, the 12 men on the field drove me insane. I know it's not fully on Glenn, but that was such a Jet move. I did tweet out, oh yeah, now I know he's the next Jets head coach. Once they were in the most crucial spot of the game, 4th and 2, and there's 12 men on the field, that's what they get called for in a 3-point game that if you turn it over, Washington couldn't stop you all day. And again, that one game it's stupid to judge Aaron Glenn based on that one game. I understand that, I'm not, but that one penalty was so Jet-like that I was like, man, he might be the next Jet head coach.
He was in midseason form.
Yeah, exactly.
KJH says, I don't think Gary watched them play. Both awesome, but Revis was absolutely better than Glenn. I watched every snap of both careers. Yeah, I mean, look, this is not to knock Aaron Glenn to say he's not the best corner of all time, which in his prime, I think you could argue Revis was. Like, it's like, no one's knocking Aaron Glenn, the player. He was awesome, but stop.
And Glenn might be the second best corner in Jets history. Like,
right.
That's not a negative.
Ricky NY checks in. Glenn staff, Wilkes DC, Johnny Ray Holland, linebacker coach, assistant DC, Patrick Surtain, senior secondary, Brunell OC, Kevin Mawai, offensive line, LFG. Rami is wrong.
I hope you're right. I hope I'm wrong.
I would love to know if Kevin Mawai is even interested in coaching.
Right, and that's part of it. A lot of these things, right? We said the same thing about Wilkes, right? So we don't know if these people are interested in coaching. So we'll see. That time will tell, and it seems like we'll probably find out in the next couple of days.
100%. As far as some of the other names here, Steve Wilkes, I think being the DC would be a really good hire. Previous head coaching experience.
That I do like.
Here was another name that was thrown out there for the OC job. Ben McAdoo. Ben McAdoo was good with Eli. Then he became a head coach. It didn't go well, but obviously has been in this market before. Could warn Aaron Glenn on exactly what not to do when dealing with the media and everything that comes with being a head coach in this market. And,
he definitely knows what not to do.
Yeah, just an idea. McAdoo was a good OC. People forget that.
What's interesting is where is he now? Where has he been since then? Like, I want to know if his offense is innovative, if it's continuing to progress. Because like I said, we're looking at a league where now these offenses are getting, again, I don't think you need to be to Ben Johnson level where in a 10-point game in the third quarter, your wide receiver is throwing passes. I don't want to see that in a playoff game. But I do want to see some more innovation where it seems like since LaFleur, we went away from that.
McAdoo is currently a senior offensive assistant with the Patriots.
Okay. I mean, it's hard to really tell what's going on there with their offense, obviously. They don't really have the skill position players necessary, but that makes sense. Didn't he come from the Belichick tree originally?
McAdoo got his career start. His first NFL job was with the Saints as offensive quality control. No Patriot ties in his resume. He was with the Packers before the Giants hired him.
Oh, it was Joe Judge who was the Patriots guy who coached for the Giants. Yeah. All right. I got them confused. All right.
He knows Aaron Rodgers. He was there in Green Bay with him.
And by the way, this is what everyone's saying. Glenn wants Rodgers back. I'm curious what your thoughts are on that.
I mean, I want Rodgers back. I don't know.
I do too.
I don't know if Glenn wants him back. People have speculated that, but I don't know if that's true.
We don't know if that's true, but think about it. If you are a first-time head coach and you think you could have success right away, like why wouldn't you want Rodgers back? What are the other options, right?
I mean, if they're trying to sell to this fan base, first-time coach, defensive background, and then Tyrod Taylor's the quarterback next year, good luck.
Right. And that's what Connor said on WFAN also was basically it could be one of those McCown-Hackenberg type years, and that made me immediately just vomit in my mouth.
If Aaron wants to play and him and Aaron Glenn could, hit it off, Aaron Rodgers should be the quarterback next year.
1,000%. Yes.
I mean, all these people.
And by the way, the people, you're delaying the rebuild. Rebuilds take a year in the NFL. Look at Washington. Look at Houston. It takes a second. All it takes is getting the right quarterback in the draft, and that's the rebuild, especially with a roster as talented as the Jets. So you're not delaying a rebuild. This team shouldn't be rebuilding. They have so much talent still.
Especially with a quarterback who seems open to taking a pay cut, and it means you have Devontae back too. So it's like if you lose Rodgers, you also lose Devontae. So then you have one good receiver and then nothing else.
I saw somebody posted like a picture of the last bunch of years, the quarterback stats versus Rodgers, 28 touchdowns to 11 picks. Then the previous year, 9 touchdowns. There it is.
Yeah, this has been. I showed this on my show, and people screenshotted it and blasted it all over Twitter. And I know it's on my show because you see the little graphic in the corner there with the plane, the little green thing.
Yeah, exactly.
People couldn't quite remove that. So I see you everyone on Twitter.
Crop it all the way.
You're all ripping off my graphics here from the Jake Asman show. Credit me. But anyway,
okay. Exactly. Just look at this and tell me Rodgers shouldn't be back. You can't.
I mean, I don't think people realize how bad it was before Rodgers. It's like people have Rodgers derangement syndrome.
It's crazy how quickly people forget. It's unbelievable.
And look, no one's saying Aaron Rodgers was amazing this past year, but he's not the reason why they only won 5 games.
And the second half of the season, he was a lot better. So what's to say he's not going to another year off of an injury? I understand there's risk, but people are like, oh, he's just going to get hurt again. He played 17 games this year with the nicks and bruises.
And you know what? If he gets hurt, all right, fine. You still have Tyrod under contract for 1 more year.
Yeah, there's zero downside to bringing back Rodgers.
I mean, like once again, if he's willing to redo his contract and it means Devontae's back, then I don't see a better alternative than him for 1 more year.
And I do think he wants to play because I think the way he played in the second half of the season seems like he'd probably want to play a guy as competitive as he is. I don't think he wants to go out where he feels like he's forced out of the league. And what other options is he going to have? I don't think he's going to have a ton of other options. So if he wants to play, New York is probably one of the few options he has.
Ladies and gentlemen, the first person to gift a membership during the show is listener Mike. He is dropping a 10 spot of channel membership. Sound the alarm. Ray Noble, Kyrie, I Am Gotham, Nikki Nicole, DeAndre Vega, Craig M, John Garcia, Joey Bad, Victory Monday, Joe Fliz, all receiving channel memberships from Mike. He's entered in our raffle with 10 entries. He's trying to win a Garrett Wilson signed jersey, a Breece Hall jersey signed trading card, an Aaron Glenn signed card, and I'm upping up the prizes right now. Ladies and gentlemen, a Joe Willie Namath Super Bowl III replica jersey is being added. We've gotten a ton of memberships the last few days, so we're adding a 4th grand prize to our next raffle next week. Uh-oh. Don't want to break that ring. Here it is. I'm going to wear it for good luck. And hopefully Aaron Glenn can win a Super Bowl with the Jets. I'm going to manifest it. All right, some more super chats here. Bo writes in, Rami, question, if you're skeptical about what's happening, can you please outline your perfect scenario? Head coach, GW, DC, and OC. Let's hear. I believe GW is OC, or actually, what's GW? Oh, maybe it means GM.
Probably. Yeah. I would love Alec Hallaby to be the GM from obviously from Philly. What they've done there with Howie Roseman, reinventing the roster over and over and over again and constantly staying competitive. I would love to see a guy like that. He's someone who was a right-hand man for a while and has had experience. He's a young guy, innovative guy. Come in. I understand that. So that I would like to see that. For head coach, again, of the realistic options, I would love to go Mike McCarthy, but they're not even interviewing him. You want to give me like a more quote unquote realistic option? I think one of the other 2 finalists was Brian Flores that a lot of people talked about. To me, that is a better hire, a guy who has no allegiance to Woody Johnson, a guy who's going to come in and do it his way and immediately set a tone, set a standard and say, hey, guess what, guys? No more Twitter. No more Twitter fingers, players. We're not doing that anymore. We're holding you guys accountable. I want to see someone like that. And with him comes probably I don't know who he would choose as a defensive guy, but with him comes a guy like Josh McCown. To me, that is not, I'm not saying, okay, people got on me for saying John Gruden or Mike McCarthy. Okay, I'm not giving you that. I'm giving you a realistic option that I think is a better choice. I could be wrong. I would like to be wrong, but I just think that's the better option.
So I like Flores too. The only thing is with Schefter reporting that McCown is only taking a head coaching job and he wouldn't leave.
That seems crazy to me. He's never had an OC job. So why would he only take a head coaching job? If he wants to be a head coach, come here, be the OC for a year, and you probably get a head coaching job in next cycle.
I feel like from his standpoint, he's like, I don't need to leave for any job. Like I would only be an OC with like a quarterback already in place. And also he might look at it like Andy Reid wasn't an OC and he became a head coach.
No, it's true. And part of that is clearly he's getting talked about for head coaching hires. So if he's getting talked about for head coaching hires, then why leave a situation where with Kevin O'Connell, the team's going to be good, whereas it's risky to go out on your own and then maybe you struggle or your team struggles and all of a sudden you're not a hot name for a head coach anymore. So for him, I guess it makes sense to stay under the shadow, stay in the background, not have to do too much, and then still have your name out there as a head coaching candidate. Not a bad choice for him.
Would you like to respond to Ricky NY saying, you are wrong, terribly uninformed, and obviously desperate to be a Glenn detractor?
Yes, I'd like to respond. I hope you're right. I hope I'm wrong. And this is not anti-Aaron Glenn. This is not I think he could actually be a very good head coach. I just think for this particular situation, it's a delicate situation with this franchise. And I'd like to see someone with experience who doesn't have an allegiance to Woody Johnson. That's all. But this is going to be more of the same. If you want to do the same thing over again, where Woody Johnson is still running the show. And by the way, I believed going into this offseason that nothing would change as long as he's the owner. It's hard to do a Jets podcast, which I do with Bilal, and it's hard to talk about it on here or talk about it on WFAN, where you just keep saying the same thing. As long as Woody's there, it's not going to change. I'm hoping that even with him there, it can change. And unfortunately, I don't see this as being a departure from the past.
Peter Castro writes in, who do they go to if Glenn doesn't come? I mean, I hope it's Flores, but would it surprise you if it's Arthur Smith?
Right, but that's the crazy part. We talked about this earlier. That's the egg on your face where now it's not only who do they go to, who wants to come here after they got the call saying, oh, we have our guy, we're going a different direction. Thank you for your time. Now they come crawling back. There's probably a lot of people who are going to be like, we're good now, right?
City Burt, what is the expectation of AG? Sirianni could go to the Super Bowl again this year and get fired. He's not getting fired, City Bird. Nick Sirianni's not getting fired. The expectation of the front office matters with this head coach. I mean, my expectation for Aaron Glenn is to have this team competing for a playoff spot this year. There's talent to do it. There's 7 teams that get in. Why can't the Jets be this year's Chargers or this year's Broncos, in 2025? That's what I hope to see. I mean, think about it. It wasn't that long ago that when the Jets had a first-time coach, they made the playoffs. Herm, Mangini, Rex, even Bowles won 10 games his first year. I'm not – and anyone trying to tell you the Jets are rebuilding is lying straight to your face.
True.
There's talent to win games on this team, and they should win a lot more than the 5 they won this year.
And that's part of it. That's why if I thought that this team wasn't capable of winning, then I would tell you, go with the first-time head coach and start the rebuild and see how it goes. I think because they're ready to win now, that's why you do need more of a veteran head coach. But no, the expectation, even if Glenn is that coach, who I don't think is the right choice, the expectation is still the playoffs. The expectation, what I want to see day one is discipline. I don't want to see the Robert Saleh fake quotes that he pulled from, TikTok. I want to see a guy who's authentic, who's truly himself and is not trying to be someone else. And it seems like from Hard Knocks, from the clips that we see and from his press conferences, he is truly an authentic guy. He's going to be himself. He's not going to let anyone dictate, who he is. He's going to be unapologetically him. Does that translate to the players? Does that translate to being a head coach? Because we've seen guys, especially Saleh, who when they were a DC, they were one thing. And then when they became a head coach, they completely turned into a different person. And hopefully that's not Aaron Glenn. Hopefully he's the same guy we saw as a DC in Detroit, because if he truly is that guy, then I think what we'll see is a disciplined defense. We'll see a roster that respects him and almost a little bit fears him, you know what I mean? But still loves him. That's what we want to see. And hopefully that's what we get.
Comment from Matt from L5 and Asmaniac Super Chat. What a waste the 33rd team seems to have been. Are we really believing that we wouldn't have ended up hiring the Lions DC with Lions front office executive? I mean, maybe not. I don't mind the 33rd team being involved because I'm glad Tannenbaum and Spielman are at least in the room for these interviews. Yeah, I don't trust Woody Johnson to ask the right questions to these candidates. I think he could be fooled like Chris Johnson was by Adam Gase. So I do like that Tannenbaum has been successful with this franchise, has trust of the owner. Spielman did this for the Commanders a year ago. So I don't have an issue with using the 33rd team. My issue is more so with some of the candidates they ended up speaking to, just to seemingly end up just giving Aaron Glenn full autonomy to do it however he wants to do it.
And it seems like, and I've seen the reports also on this where, yes, while the 33rd team advised, ultimately it was Woody Johnson's decision. or will be Woody Johnson's decision. This seems like this was a total Woody decision. We don't even know if this was a 33rd team decision, right?
Ultimately, the owner's going to sign off, but I'm sure Tannenbaum is an Aaron Glenn guy. He was there with the Jets when he was a player.
Right, that's true.
He knows about his path as a scout and then in the coaching. Like, I bet you Mike Tannenbaum is definitely on board with Aaron Glenn. I think it's just a matter of, does it make sense once again to go first timer on that side of the ball, given where this franchise is at currently?
Yep.
Indy writes in, Gary's lack of intelligent thought makes Bobby Midnight look like Einstein. So Indy Jets taking a swipe at Gary and Bobby Midnight. Now, for those curious, the Gary that Indy Jets is ripping on is not Gary 3D Box. It's the Gary who earlier said that Glenn is better than Revis. And I believe that Gary's on the line. He's back from Stupid Town. Hello, Gary.
Hey, Jake. I never said Revis wasn't great. I've seen them both play live.
Yeah.
Since I was, around when Revis played and you weren't. The numbers.
Are you saying I wasn't around?
Lie.
Wait a second. You just said I wasn't around when Revis played. I watched every snap of his career. It's my favorite Jet of all time.
No. You were. I'm not saying he wasn't great. He belongs in the Hall of Fame. But what I'm saying is,
and Aaron Glenn does not.
He does.
So what are you saying? No, he doesn't.
He does.
No,
Look at the numbers, Jake. I can read them to you if you'd like.
Hey, all right, Gary. You're going to try and argue that Aaron Glenn is a better cornerback than Darrelle Revis. That's what you're saying, correct?
Yes, because at the time he played.
Now look what you've done. No more protection from the Asmaniacs. Had to pull you out of the chat and cast you down with the sodomites. Some time in here will feel like you've been run over by the lane train. You understand me? You catch my drift? Give him another 24 hours to think about it.
I don't have it in me to argue. It's going to be a long day of this. Yesterday was a long day of arguing with idiots. I can't do it. Gary, thanks for watching the show. I truly appreciate it, but you might be on drugs if you think that Darrelle Revis was a worse football player than Aaron Glenn. And this is not to knock Aaron Glenn. He was an awesome Jet.
Darrelle and a statistical argument
ever.
It's crazy to argue stats for a corner. That's the crazy part. I mean, it's like a corner. What was great about Revis was they never threw to him. That's why he didn't put up numbers, because they just didn't. He eliminated one entire half of the field. Like, that's the best thing you could possibly do.
This is my favorite Revis stat. In Peyton Manning's last game as a Colt, when the Jets upset Indy on the road in the playoffs in the 2010 playoffs, prime Reggie Wayne, 1 catch, 1 yard. So Darrelle Revis didn't have any stats that entire game. 1 catch, 1 yard for Reggie Wayne. That's the stat, Gary.
Was it the 09 season where you have the list of Ocho Cinco and Randy Ma and all those guys like listed one after the other and their stats against Revis? It's just ridiculous. Like, there's no one who compares to him.
It's just, give me a break. Thanks for watching, though, Gary. I do appreciate it. You have a nice beard. I'll try and be nice. Zoink Nation writes in, didn't Dan Campbell go straight to being a head coach? I don't think he was ever an OC. I don't think Josh McCown would need to be a play caller to be a head coach. Dan Campbell was hired as a tight end coach to be the Lions head coach. Let me look to see if he's ever called plays before, though, because I'm not sure.
Yeah, and this, again, you talked about this. You mentioned the name before. I forget who you mentioned that was never I'm saying Tomlin also, right? Never called plays before. There's a bunch of guys. I think Harbaugh went straight from being like a special teams coordinator to a head coach. So this wouldn't be the first case where a guy goes straight from not having called plays to becoming a head coach. But yeah, like, again, you could look it up with Campbell. I'm not saying it's a prerequisite. I'm just saying maybe if he'd like to be an OC somewhere, it still is an upgrade. If he doesn't get a head coaching job this cycle, maybe he sees an OC job as an upgrade. That's all.
Great comment from Nate parentheses Nate. I can't believe 3D boxing just became the second craziest Gary on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, let's check in with the now second craziest Gary that regularly calls into the show.
Plants are trying to kill me, so I think I'll eat a stick of butter. Yeah, ladies, you can do music. I love Aaron Glenn, and I thought he was an amazing cornerback, but there's never been a better cornerback than Darrelle Revis. Just for that short period of time, right? You could argue maybe Dion had a better career, but just at their peak, we're picking sides. What cornerback do you want in this prime? The answer 10 out of 10 times is Revis. It's not even close. I don't even think it's close. And I love Aaron Glenn, but I don't even. It's that is an amazing comment. That is like, and it's not a knock on Glenn. Like every Jet fan has admiration for Glenn, but it's like saying I'd rather have John Starks than Jalen Brunson. It's like this isn't even a thing. It's like this isn't even close. I understand that we all like Glenn, and he was a big part of that '98 team, but he's better than Revis. I don't have no words, Jake.
Here's what I need to do, Gary. All right. Rami, stand by. All right. I gotta handle some very important housekeeping right now. So I'm gonna bring other Gary back from the hole. Other Gary, what is your take on the moon landing? Is it real? Yes or no?
I'm not even going to dignify that, Jake. But once again, I'm not saying Revis sucked. Revis belongs in the Hall of Fame. I never said he sucked. I just said if you look at the numbers, Glenn has twice as many interceptions. He has more tackles. The only thing they have in common is forced fumbles, 6 each. Other than that, Glenn's numbers across the board are better than Revis's. So how can you knock and say that he doesn't belong at the same level as Revis? Because when he played, he was matched as with Deion Sanders as one of the 2 best corners in the league at the time. So how can you say he wasn't?
You're my age or older, right? You're old enough to remember Aaron Glenn.
I'm 54.
A lot older than me. Okay, so you watch the games, right?
I've seen every single snap of Glenn live. I was a season ticket holder.
And you think, just watching the games, you think Aaron Glenn shut down corners, shut down receivers like Revis?
Yes, he did. He shut down receivers. He had 41 picks to Revis's 29.
Gary, crazier Gary. They didn't throw Revis's way. That's why he had no stats. He shut down half the field. That's where Revis Island comes from.
And so did Glenn when he played. Jake, you weren't born when he played.
First off, I was.
You're
I don't know
29.
I'm going to call you 3D. I'm going to call the second crazy Gary 3D boxing. I'm going to call you crazy Gary. You arguing that Aaron Glenn is better than Darrelle Revis is insane. Is this just because you like Aaron Glenn? You think he's going to be a good coach for the Jets? You don't have to go this crazy, man.
How is it insane when the numbers don't lie? But I guess
the numbers do lie. You can't evaluate a corner based only on numbers. That's the whole point, Gary. Why is Aaron Glenn not in the Hall of Fame? You're the only one.
I don't know why he's not in the Hall of Fame, Jake. I don't know. Because the numbers say he should be.
No, they don't. No, they don't. Because Revis's numbers aren't how you evaluate him. You had to have watched him play. And now they have like advanced stats that could show coverage grades for quarters and how much separation they allow per route on a wide receiver or tight end in coverage. These stats didn't exist for a lot of Revis's career. If they did, we'd be talking about Darrelle Revis even more so in the legendary regard we do now.
You wanted Josh McCown over Aaron Glenn, did you not?
Oh, my God. We're not talking
Josh
about Aaron
McCown
Glenn.
refuses to be an OC because
Gary, was the moon landing real? Yes or no?
Yeah, it was real.
All right, follow-up question, Gary.
For him or for me?
Salad or a cigarette? You have to smoke one cigarette every day for the rest of your life or eat a salad every day for the rest of your life. What do you believe is healthier for your body?
A salad, because I don't smoke.
Ladies and gentlemen, back to the hole you go. Thank you, Crazy Gary.
Now look what you've done. No more protection from the Asmaniacs. Had to pull you out of the chat and cast you down with the sodomites. Some time in here will feel like you've been run over by the lane train. You understand me? You catch my drift? Give him another 24 hours to think about it.
There's actually some hope for him. Not for you, Gary, 3D boxing, but at least you're aligned with the, Revis greater than Aaron Glenn take. But I mean, at least he acknowledged that salad is better for you than a cigarette. I mean, there is some hope for that guy. Unlike you, Gary.
neither is meant for human consumption. I'll leave it at that.
Thanks for the time. Rami, you just
I don't think
witnessed
you
that.
consume cigarettes.
Your thoughts on crazier Gary's take that Aaron Glenn greater than Rivas?
Again, it's nuts, and it like you said, crazier is the right word for it, because it's just absolutely crazy. Like bringing in stats, he was talking about tackles. We're talking about tackles. You know why Rivas didn't make any tackles? Because no one threw the ball to the receiver that he was covering.
I can't.
So he didn't have to make any tackles.
You can't.
Like
you can't use stats for a corner. Like it just.
No.
Sauce Gardner was
can't.
first team All Pro his first 2 years. He had 2 total interceptions. Like
exactly.
How? Because
and by the way, he doesn't have a lot of
games.
tackles either,
No.
because he doesn't tackle anyone.
He does not. That's probably the
but
most underrated aspect of Rivas' game. By the way, he's the best tackler of any corner I've ever watched as well.
He was willing to go make a tackle, which, a lot of smaller corners aren't. Now, he was a thicker dude, but he was, a lot of smaller corners aren't willing to do. The moon landing we could debate, though. We'll see. Did you watch that movie, Fly Me to the Moon?
I have not seen it.
It was good. It was very interesting. Yeah, I mean, they definitely. So they actually give you a conclusion. I was hoping they would kind of leave it up to interpretation. They give you a conclusion that it did happen, but they definitely question the moon landing.
There's a lot of takes on this show by Gary 3D Boxing, but you know what? I don't want to call him crazier Gary because that might confuse the audience. I think Tom Ace had the line 2D Boxing. So the guy who thinks Glenn better than Rivas is 2D Boxing. Gary 3D Boxing is the normal Gary. Everyone clear in the chat going forward? That's how we will define them. So history was made here. All right, I'm going to take one more call with you, Rami, because this guy wants to go up and in and challenge you. Ricky NY, the leader of the Aaron Glenn to the Jets coalition, starts us off here. What's up, Ricky?
Hey, how's it going, Jake? So, Rami, are you of the opinion that the Jets should move on from Aaron Rodgers?
No, I think they should keep Aaron Rodgers.
Okay. Because I heard a lot of people saying, like, why didn't we interview this guy? Why didn't we interview that guy? First of all, I don't know why you're so convinced that Aaron Glenn shouldn't be the coach, because when he stopped playing, first he was like in this Lone Star League in Texas. His first job was as a GM, believe it or not. Then he became a scout with the Jets. He became a position coach. I mean, he's worked at every single different level of coaching.
And I think, by the way, I think he's going to be a really good head coach in the NFL. So this is not an anti-Glenn thing. I don't want to make it sound like it was an anti-Glenn thing.
So he would be a really good coach in the NFL anywhere but here. The organization
Yeah, because I think this is a tougher organization that both the media and the ownership ruins coaches, ruins players. And so I think they need a very specific type of hire here, especially the situation they're in where they're coming off a season or 2 seasons with high expectations. They're coming off a season where the owner got overly involved and stepped in all of the GM and the head coaches. You tell me this, a guy in Aaron Glenn who was given multiple opportunities, right? By Woody Johnson, played for Woody Johnson, respects Woody Johnson. When Woody Johnson comes to him and says, hey, Aaron, thanks for taking the coaching job. I know you want Rodgers back. I don't want him back because he insulted me on the Pat McAfee show. Do you think Aaron Glenn is going to be able to stand up to Woody Johnson and say, hey, I run the show now?
I think that he would tell Woody, like, listen, you hired me to do this job. Let me do the job.
I don't think he will. I don't think he will.
Difference of opinion. I'll agree to disagree. The other thing is that, when you say, like, Woody got overly involved, he meddled. He gave Joe Douglas 6 years. He gave them a lot of leeway. By the time Woody finally stepped in and got rid of Saleh and got rid of Douglas, everyone in this fan base, probably you included, were calling for their head because we had this talented roster and it was a train wreck. The
was wrong.
Whole Woody meddling thing, I think, is a little bit overblown, and you sound like a negative Jets fan that just looks for a way to be negative.
No, I hope I'm wrong. I actually hope that Aaron Glenn
You
works
are.
out. I hope. What was that? Okay, I hope you're right. So don't get me wrong. I hope you're right. I hope I'm wrong. I'm just going based on the history that I've seen and based on what I've seen from Woody Johnson. And I've met Chris Johnson. They're great. They seem like great people. It's not even about that. The organization, like I said, they treated me really well when I went there with Bilal, and they treated us really well. And so I'm not negative towards the organization. I just see the history of the organization, and it just tells me that they're going to mess it up. So what am I just supposed to go into everything and expect it to be great? Is that what being a Jets fan is? No, I hope for the best, but right now they've given me nothing but to expect the worst.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I necessarily expect the worst. However, like, I mean, listen, I don't just blindly go along with whatever the Jets decide to do. Like when they hired Adam Gase, I was ready to riot.
But that's the
Probably
thing.
one of the worst hirings I've ever seen in my life. And
But the problem is, you're telling me that if I say that I don't agree with this, then all of a sudden I'm a negative Jets fan who doesn't want to see them be successful. It's just not true.
Well, look, there's the situation out there, and I suppose that in this instance, it's just a matter of perspective. You see it from your way, the way that have come to think about things, and I see it my way. I think Glenn is the right guy for the job, and I think he's going to end up proving that.
I hope you're right. There's nothing I'd rather be than wrong in this situation. I promise you that.
Right? Yeah. I mean, who knows? I could be wrong. It's happened like twice, so it's not impossible. So
yeah, and again, I don't think I just saw this. Pop
think
up.
the second one. Excuse me.
Ricky, good call. That's how we transition around here, Rami. I know you've only been on the show a couple times, but yeah, I mean,
I like that.
Good back and forth.
Yeah, again, and people say, oh, well, I see this in the chat that somebody said, and I don't want to skip the line if anyone, but I see someone say that, oh, well, if it's ownership's fault, then no one could be successful. No, I think someone who can stand up and say no to ownership would be successful. I don't think someone who has an allegiance to ownership, who was brought up and has a great relationship with Woody, can say no to him. And so I think Woody knows that, and I think Woody wants to hire someone who's kind of going to be a yes man, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think part of your argument is it's never going to work because of the Johnsons. And I don't believe that to be true. I just think
I don't think it's never going to work.
So hopefully Glenn can be that guy. Rex Ryan was a first-time coach, and he was able to figure out how to deal with Woody and have a good relationship with him. Like Glenn has a relationship with Woody too. Like Woody knew him as a player for 2 years. He knew him when he hired him as a scout in 2012, 2013. So you have to hope that Woody's learned from these transgressions this past year and is truly going to lay out and let these guys do their jobs. Yeah,
and I hope I'm wrong about this. I can't say that enough because I've seen so many people say, "Oh, you hate the Jets. You're negative." I'm not. Again, I want to be wrong about this. I want the team to be good. So I can't say anything else. I'm going to be rooting for Aaron Glenn. Like I like Aaron Glenn. I want him to be successful. There's nothing else I could say. I just think it's the wrong choice. I'm allowed to think it's the wrong choice.
Rami, excellent job, man. Appreciate you hopping out this morning.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Jake.
Rami Lavi at Rami _Lavi. Follow him there and check out his podcast with Bilal Powell, part of the Believe Podcast Network. We got to get Bilal back on the show. Every time I have him on, he's awesome.
Bilal is the best. I have to get him back on my show, and he's the co-host. So that's unfortunate. He'll come on to talk about Aaron Glenn for sure because he is a big. But I should say that he loves Aaron and he wants him to be the head coach of the Jets. So at least 50% of the Believe in Jets podcast wants Aaron Glenn to be the next Jets head coach, and it looks like he's getting his way. So I'm happy for Bilal. So yes, you should definitely get him on to talk about Aaron because he'd be happy to do so.
There you go. He's Rami. I'm Jake. We'll continue the show. Good stuff there from him. Hit the like button if you haven't. Shout out to Rich for encouraging people to do so. Reminder to join the Patreon, baby. Patreon.com/Jake Asman Show. For just $5 a month, you support this channel. You get bonus content. You get access to our Discord. Plenty of other perks as well. Bonus shows that are not on YouTube. Check it out. Patreon.com/Jake Asman Show. I don't know if I read this, so if I didn't, I'll read it now. Michael super chatted. I saw both Revis and Glenn play. Gary's an idiot. Yeah, I mean, come on. Purple Belt Mike says, I've lost brain cells like I just smoked meth. This is in regards to that Glenn take from 2D boxing, Gary. Frozen Squirrel writes in that Sauce tackles better than Revis. Frozen Squirrel, I see what you're doing, trying to troll. I'll put you in Stupid Town anyway. It's fine.
Just shut the fuck up. I did not ask for the damn opinion that came out of your ass, so shut the fuck up.
I mean, I guess you got what you wanted there. More of your calls, shall we? Let's say hello to June, the GM. Hello, June.
Hey, Jake, I think you're glitching. I see you on pause.
Oh, I'm here, baby.
Okay, I don't know what's going on. If it's something on my end. Okay, you can hear me now?
I hear you, June.
Okay, so Rami had boy band looks, and he was as mean as Joe Klecko in the trenches, man. That's a mean dude, man.
He's
Jeez.
honest, man. You know, I bring on people with all sorts of opinions. It's not always going to be pro Jets.
Listen, so imagine me over 45 years being a Jet fan, the pain I feel. Do you think I don't care if my mother coached the Jets if she can win. I just want to see a winner. You know, I do like that Aaron Glenn seems to be surrounding himself. We don't know who yet, but the names that's being mentioned seem like really solid coaches with experience. They're going to surround him. That gives me even more confidence with him being the head coach. I'm hearing, I think he got offered 13, 14 million a year, which is crazy. It's a lot of bread. I think he went back home to pray with his wife, talk things over, solidify and come back because he's a man of God, Aaron Glenn, I'm hearing. And I feel good about the hire. I'm excited. And listen, Jet fans, we all suffer. Like, this is what we do as a Jet fan. You signed up for this. So whether you 2 years in or like me, 45 years in, stop crying. This is what you signed up for. You wanted to be a Jet fan? Welcome to the pain, baby. Accept it.
Well, I could tell you, I really didn't sign up for this. I didn't have a choice. But it comes with the territory. But yeah, we all hope it works, June, but I can't fault anyone who's negative on this hire. I mean, they hired 2 first-timers, reportedly, right? If they hire Newmark, we're talking about a first-time GM with a first-time head coach, and that is the exact opposite of everything I've wanted them to do for months. So I'd be the biggest phony if I came on and said I love this. I like Aaron Glenn as a candidate.
I'm not
I didn't
happy
think
with
he,
the GM hire.
yeah,
I'm not going to lie.
I didn't think it made the most sense to hire 2 first-timers with these jobs. I mean, if the GM was experienced, it would make me feel maybe a little more confident this was going to work. But I don't like hiring Newmark with a first-time head coach. I think that's a mistake.
No, I agree too. I don't like New. I'll be honest. Newmark wasn't on my radar as a top 3 GM. I wanted. If we were going to go with a first-time hire, I want the Spielman. But I did like Thomas a lot. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know if we were going to go first time. I wanted the guy had to be from Philly. I don't like Newmark too much, but it is what it is. Let's just hope it works because right now, you know, he's going to have to win the press conference like all coaches do. He is not Robert Saleh though, and I can't defend Glenn on this. At his time when he played, he was one of the best corners. He was my favorite all-time Jet. But Darrell Revis was the best corner when he was playing. Yeah. That's the difference there. Glenn was one of the best. Revis was the best. Let's get that out the way.
We're spending too much time on this, Jude. That guy Gary is on an island alone with that opinion.
I have to let him know that I've been around as long as him, so he don't think, you know, I'm some rookie. Listen, Gary, you gotta relax with Revis Island, okay? But yeah, you know, Jake, I think it's a solid hire. I don't like the GM hire. Hopefully we're proven wrong. We need this news today, though. Enough anxiety for all of us. We need this news today.
I agree, June. Great call, man. Look, you hope they nailed it, right? I mean, they're putting a lot of faith in Aaron Glenn by letting him essentially pick the GM he's working with. Like, I get it. They love Aaron Glenn. They think he's a phenomenal candidate. They think he's going to be a great coach. They think he's the next Dan Campbell, Mike Tomlin, John Harbaugh. Like that how they've handled this, that's how they're treating him. There's a lot of risk in that. I can't remember a first-time coach getting this much power other than Kyle Shanahan. Like, Ben Johnson doesn't even have this kind of power, and he went to Chicago. Taylor Sterling says, question for Gary, is jumping in the pool as good as taking a shower or bath? Which Gary, Taylor? Please qualify. I can't ask the one in the hole, but I could ask 3D Boxing Gary this. Bo writes in, great devil's advocate perspective. I personally think it does absolutely nothing for us in our current situation. Glenn is the guy. Cry when it fails. Yeah, I mean, I'll definitely cry when it fails. I hope it doesn't fail, though, Bo. I hope this works. But we can't just blindly say great hire if we don't believe it. I don't believe it. I like Aaron Glenn. He could be awesome. I would have felt more comfortable with an experienced coach, with Mike McCarthy, Brian Flores, etc. David D., in answer to the Dan Campbell question from a Lions fan, he was the Saints' assistant head coach and tight end coach. He called plays in the second half of 2021 with the Lions. I actually, you know what? You're right, David. I do remember that. I love how Lions fans still watch this show. Shout out to you, David. Sorry about your loss. I was truly pulling for you guys. All right, let's get to more of your calls right now. How about this? Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what to play to bring this guy on. I got to think about this. It's a very delicate situation. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to play anything. I'm just going to let you all see it in real time. Mikey Midnight is up next. What's up, Mikey? Mikey, I can't hear you. Mikey, can't hear you. Hold on. Let's go to the bullpen.
Hi, everybody. This is Bob from Vermont. I am Bob, of course. Well, first, he's not in the kitchen. Tell him to go to the kitchen first.
Mikey, go to the kitchen.
He doesn't listen to me. Well, he can't hear me.
We can't hear him, and he can't. Does he know he's on?
Yeah, he got the crappiest internet ever. He has a Chromebook that doesn't work. I tell him to go to the kitchen. He never listens to me in the first place. So. Here he goes.
Mikey, kitchen.
Okay, so
he's gone.
No, I like Remy. He's a great guy, and that dumb guy that looked like the guy. I think that's his father, David T's father. They're calling
what guy?
Gary. You know, the guy with the beard. You know, David T, the wrestling guy. That's his dad. They look like.
You thought he looked like David T?
Yeah, they sound like each other too when they yelled at you yesterday the same way.
Interesting.
I mean, you two got into. You threw him in the hole too. Yes, I remember David T. You threw him in the hole.
I didn't throw David T in the hole.
Yes, you did. Yes, wrestling. Yes, you did. You pooped. Yeah,
I didn't throw David T in the hole.
Yeah, the guy from wrestling. You could Nick T.
Nick T, I think I just argued with. I didn't throw him in the hole.
Yeah, I think you did put him in the hole. But Nick T and him look like.
You're confusing all the T's.
Nick T looks
there's
like.
Nick Tadeo, and then there's David T.
Yeah,
they're different
Nick
colors.
Tadeo and that guy looks exactly the same.
I see.
But I agree with you. I think Revis is a lot better than Glenn. I used to Glenn back when too. I'm as old as him. I'm 2 years older than that, David, you put in the hole. So, yeah, Glenn was a good player, but nothing like Revis Island. You don't get anything past Revis Island. That's why they call it Revis Island. Get it through your head, David.
It's Bobby.
Gary.
His
Gary
name was not David. His name was
Gary in the hole.
Gary 2D Boxing.
Yeah, Gary 2D Boxing. Get it through your head that, you know, Glenn is not better than Revis. I'm sorry, Charlie, to tell you that. And then I do want Glenn as a head coach, but who's the other GM you want?
I wanted someone with previous GMing experience, and I think Thomas Dimitrov would have been the best fit.
That's the guy. Is he still available?
Yeah, no one's hired him.
That's a good. Yeah, that's okay. Go Jets. Wake up and smell coffee. Listen to Jake. Get that guy.
They never listen to me. They never. We would be in the playoffs the last 2 years if they listen to me.
I know, me too. Look at the Giants, what they did last year. Oh, guess who the Giants are interested in heading for the defensive head coach? One of the Jets.
Coordinator?
Yeah, one of the Jets players. Where was it? I just saw it on.
Here we go, Bobby reading things off Facebook. There, Michael Strahan's going to be the Giants coach, right, Bobby?
No, I don't think that. No, they want him as GM.
Yeah, that's not happening. Stop getting your news from
know.
Facebook articles.
I know. Okay. Well, no, I agree 100% what you do. But I like Remy. I wanted to say hi. I missed that guy.
Ladies and
saying
gentlemen,
happy
we're
birthday
sounding
to-
the alarms right now because I believe he might be ready to come on the show. Michael! Mikey Midnight.
Mikey. Oh.
What's going on here? He hasn't figured out how to use StreamYard yet?
Once I get my money, once I get my I'm going to buy him a computer.
Michael.
I got to get him a computer.
Michael.
I'm sorry.
He's in a darkness retreat.
You want me to call him up so you at least could talk to him?
Yeah, give him a call.
I don't know if you can hear him yet, but just it's only us two, so it's not like he'll call on Zoom.
Big fella says Glenn was a really good corner. He's no Revis. Yeah, no one. We spent way too much time on this. It's one guy's crazy opinion. Anyone with eyes understands Aaron Glenn was an awesome corner, but he's not the Royal Revis, who's one of the 3 best corners to ever play. Ricky says Jake Glenn's
okay,
gonna make
Michael,
you believe.
listen. I'm right here. You can talk to him right now. You hear him, Jake?
Mikey. I can't hear. Put him on speaker.
He's on speaker. That's as
Mikey.
My phone.
Fix your internet, Mikey.
Michael, go to the kitchen. Go to the kitchen and call back in. Call in the kitchen, I just said. Michael, quiet. Call in the kitchen. Go to the kitchen. Call. Well, go back and call in again. He can't hear you. Goodbye. Oh, he does this to me on my channel.
He's really struggling to figure out how to call in. Tell him to hit the settings button on StreamYard and just make sure his mic is the computer mic.
He messes up all the time. He doesn't.
Have you considered a career in maybe IT, Bobby, instead of Burger King?
Why?
Because you could fix people's technological issues.
Well, I'm not that smart.
When's the Burger King interview?
First of all, Desiree's sick. I have to wait till Saturday to get a haircut.
So you can't interview at Burger King unless you get a haircut first?
No, I'll call up today and see if I can interview tomorrow. I'll take a nice warm shower. I got my shower working, then head up there. Yeah,
I see.
It's
now,
like freezing as I said.
Hey, motivational means. I see you called in, but are you Black Gypsy? Is that a different name you called?
Oh, come on, let me talk to this guy. I can't wait.
I can't tell if that's him or not. But no, that's not. It's a different guy because I know you were very upset at Black Gypsy yesterday.
Yeah, definitely. I was. You don't talk about my friend.
Beast Breaker.
Beast Breaker like that. No.
Yeah.
No. And that word. Oh yeah, he's one of those. But you shouldn't say it on this show. You know, he has no right to say that word at all.
We want to keep it. We want to keep the cursing at a minimum on this show. No bad words.
Not the curse. Yeah, his
all
cursing,
bad words. All bad words.
You should have thrown that
all
up.
Words. All I know
bad
words.
You should have thrown that
all
up.
All terrible, horrible, bad words.
Word is
ladies and gentlemen, Mikey Midnight is back. Hello, Mikey. Mikey. Bobby, talk some sense into him. I'll let you guys handle it.
Yes. Michael. He's frozen. Oh, Michael. Here we go. Mike. Oh. I have to put this up on my show. This is ridiculous. Come on. Michael, you're screwing up Jake's show. It's fine to screw up my show, but this is Jake's show, Michael. Come on. We got to get you a new tablet here. I wish Clancy was around. Clancy has a new one he could ship up here, maybe. Just for now. Hold on a minute. Michael, Well, your phone stinks. Your internet stinks. I told you this. Do not call in. You hear? Say hello to everybody. Jake, do you hear him now?
I don't hear him.
What?
Mikey.
Can you hear him?
Mikey.
Can you?
Fix your internet, Mikey. We
He
need your
can't hear
opinion
you,
on Aaron
Mikey.
Glenn.
You got to call in, call back. Call in, call back. Okay, please. But okay, thanks. Yeah, at least he's not yelling and screaming at me like other shows he does. Okay, Jake, call in one more time. And it's not. You got to go to the next person. This is not good for the show.
Gator says Mikey just passed Bobby in the polls.
Okay, good, Gator. We'll just go eat another crap ass sandwich. Okay, thank you, Gator. I don't care, really. I really don't care about these polls anymore. I don't care. I'm a bad guy. I don't care. Okay.
Nick Shine says, how much to put Bobby in the hole?
Okay, put me in the hole then. I don't care. I'll leave. Okay,
well,
Jake, nice talking to you.
Well, you can't leave yet. You weren't put in the hole. No one put you in the hole. Why are you leaving?
I don't want to be put in the hole. I'll put myself in the hole.
Where are you running out to? Stay. Get comfortable. Hang out.
No, no, I'm not falling for that crap.
What do you mean?
Michael, I just told you what to do. What now?
Put him on the line. Let me talk to him.
What, Mike? Yeah, I know. That's what he said. Can you hear him now?
Yeah, hold him up to the mic.
Can you hear him now?
I heard him vaguely, I think, say it's not going to work.
No, he watched. Yes. You hear that?
I didn't hear it. Why don't you translate what he's saying?
He said that he's going to be before Michael goes to work. Aaron Glenn is going to be the New York Jets head coach.
Ask him how he feels about Glenn being the coach.
He wants him as a head coach. Yes.
He wants him.
Yeah. Okay.
Is he ask him if he's concerned about him being another first-time coach from a defensive background?
Are you worried about him for the first time as a defensive coach being a head coach? No.
I can't hear a word he's saying. You're gonna have to translate.
Michael, he was a scout. He said he was a scout.
He was a scout. Yep, and he was also a coach after that. Ask him his thoughts on that.
He liked him as a coach. Yes,
he did. Ask him if he's concerned that it might be too much for him to handle New York.
Is it going to be too hard to handle in New York, Michael, as a head coach? No. He's going to throw Aaron Rodgers out the window.
I think he wants Aaron Rodgers back. Ask him if Glenn wants Aaron Rodgers. What does Mike
Glenn wants Aaron Rodgers back? Do you agree with that? Yes, he does.
He does. Yeah. Hey, Bobby, Gia wrote that you could come to her hole.
Hi, Gia.
Let's see.
Rodgers will kiss his ass, Michael says.
South Philly says this is a tough watch. Ask Mikey if he's concerned that he's ruining my show with his bad internet.
Yeah, Michael, you gotta call back. We already interviewed you. Okay, talk to you later. Okay, Jake, he loves you.
I will tell him I love him.
He loves you too, Michael. Bye.
Mike D's Nuts says this is painful. Would you like to respond to him?
Mike D's Nuts, I agree with you 100%. Thank you.
Jason writes in, it was more intelligent when we were debating Glenn versus Revis. Your thoughts on this scathing comment here from Jason in Jerusalem?
Well, I have to agree with him. It happens on my show constantly. And then when I'm always in the wrong because he yells at me, he screams at me, Bobby, it's your fault. You don't let me in. It's your crappy fucking Chromebook.
Has he thought about getting has he thought about maybe getting a laptop instead of a Chromebook?
Well, once I get my taxes, gonna help him out get him one.
Matt says have him call back for the kitchen.
No, Matt, don't start it. Okay, we ended it nice. It's great. Jake, you have a great day. I'm sorry this ruined your show.
No, it's okay. I think the show was enhanced by this. I feel like we learned a lot.
Well, yeah. Well, Gator didn't think so, and then Nick wants to put me in the hole. So I think
Well, I think he was just asking what the bounty was, and I said it was 10 memberships.
Okay, what about if to throw Nick in a hole?
10 memberships. That's the standard bounty.
Okay, when I get money, I'll throw Nick in the hole.
You're gonna spend $50 to put Nick in the hole. That feels like a waste of resources for you.
Well, he's gonna put me in the hole. I didn't do anything to him today.
Well, he didn't put you in the hole though. He simply just asked what the bounty was. He didn't do it.
Well, why even ask that question for? What's up his?
He's a curious guy. He's a curious mind.
Yeah, he's a curious one. All right, I know. I gave him his picture yesterday. He asked for. He got his pictures already.
What picture?
I mean, weighing in. So drop it. Okay. Now I love you, Jake. You have a great day.
All right, Bob. You hang in there, all right?
I am. I'm gonna hopefully get a job today.
When's the job interview? You didn't say. You just said you couldn't get
Well,
a
I'm gonna
haircut.
call up as soon as I finish with you, and then second show at 3:30. Me, you, and Jeff talk about. Can I talk at least to Jeff Pauls today?
Sure.
Because I want to. Well, Jeff Pauls, I go over with Jake over, and Jeff over Rami any day. So it's Rami's a good kid, but I like Jeff better.
Gator says Bobby could go to the funnel butthole instead of the regular hole.
Okay, Gator. Okay, I think you should follow that, you big mouth. Okay, bye now. Have a great day. Yeah.
All right, call up Burger King and then call back when you find out what they say.
Okay, well.
All right, thank you.
Well, you know I need to walk more to survive unless Jake is going live. Gotta elevate my leg on Bobby.
Bobby Midnight, everybody. With special guest appearance, kind of, from Mikey Midnight. Devin gifted a membership. He's in the raffle for one. Thank you, Devin. Let's get to more of your calls. Philly Noodles is next. What's up, Philly? Whoa, look at the facial hair. Unmute your mic, Philly. Don't go Mikey Midnight on us.
Hey, what's going on, bro? My bad.
There you are. You look good, man. I like the new look.
Oh, thanks, dude. I was trying to hold back all the laughter and not being out loud during your broadcast of them. Yeah, they were. Bobby's too much, bro. He cursed like 3 times in that setting.
Yeah, and I didn't say anything.
Yeah.
But God forbid someone else's curses, then he flips out when he's a hypocrite.
Yeah, and as long as he's not saying the N-word, I mean, I think the world is fine. He should be okay. He should calm down.
No, you can't use that word. It's self-explanatory.
Yeah. He can't. You know,
well, yes. Ideally, no one uses it on the show.
Exactly. Yeah. So Aaron Glenn. I mean, what did we all take of like the move to go over there, like to interview still with the Saints again? He's just a good dude. He's just gonna. I think he's just gonna go through it. But I'm still. I keep saying it, I'm still questionable at Newmark.
I don't know though. I don't know if he's actually going to take that interview. Like I feel like this gets done today. Like I wouldn't. If he does, I don't think it means that they're not getting him. But like, there's too much evidence of Aaron Glenn telling people he's taking the Jet job for this not to happen at this point. Like I don't see it. He wants the Jets. I think honestly, the Saints don't want him to take a courtesy interview. They rather say, if you're just going to waste our time, that you're not really interested in the job, you'd rather the Jets. We're not going to go through the whole show of bringing you in and selling you on it when your mind's already made.
Yeah, I mean, that makes logical sense. He has come out so many times, but I mean, so it is what it is. I mean, period of the story. Let's say it's him. I still question Newmark. Obviously, we all are. I want to know what was his, like, we need to know, like, I guess they obviously asked him that. What was his role this past offseason with the Commanders? You know, was he in on a couple of draft picks? Jaden Daniels is a foregone conclusion when he got picked 2. Like, that's not even a question. You know what I mean? Like, who cares about that one? It's all about all the other picks. Did he have a hand in it since he was the assistant? You know, if I was speaking earlier on BG's show, and to me, it felt like maybe they were just trying to rid of everybody who was still on the Detroit staff for a while that had maybe not made an impact, possibly, to get rid of him. And he went that route, you know, and he went over to the Commanders. But even so, he still was a part of them drafting well since, you know, the past few years in Detroit. So it's kind of, I don't know, it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. If you're going to, I just don't understand doubling down on first timers. But again, we've proven with Rex Ryan, with other coaches, and it's proven across the league. D'Amico Ryans last year, you can win with a first timer. It's more about the GM.
It's just more so of doing the same thing again and trying to now expect a different result. Like, yeah, it could work. I just don't have a whole lot of faith in the Jets being the ones to identify the right people. And it's not even the Jets doing it this time. We've identified Aaron Glenn as our guy, and a guy with zero coaching experience is essentially calling the shots on who he wants his GM to be. And I think that is crazy. Aaron Glenn might be an awesome coach. I have no idea what he is yet. They're treating him like he's Vrabel, and I understood it with Vrabel because he's that deserving of getting to call his shots. I get it. But I don't understand that with Aaron Glenn. I wouldn't Lance Newmark could be good, but that's who we're settling on, and there's no one else with experience that's going to be here above those guys. That's crazy to me.
We know for certain it was his. They're going with him making that choice. Is it a rumor mill thing?
I mean, I would still be doing second interviews with Aaron Glenn. There's a tweet I wanted to read from a guy named Jake Rosenberg, who used to work in, I think, the front office for the Eagles organization, and he does something different now. But it's a really good tweet, and this is kind of how I feel about this whole. Oh, you got to have, the coach and GM that know each other and all that, right? So this was his tweet. I'll read it to you. Of all the words used to support head coach or GM candidate pairings between them, familiarity seems to be the most overvalued. While it's nice to see a friend on your first day of work, after a month, you've made many others. Is a pre-existing friendship relevant when hiring someone to lead an organization? Alignment is completely different and minimally analogous to familiarity. Completely agree that core principles and ideas must align, but being previously familiar with someone is so basic and sophomoric. And I agree with that. Just because this guy and Aaron Glenn know each other and Aaron Glenn likes him, that doesn't mean that we need to then automatically hire him and not give any other GM candidate, they spoke to 15 of them, a second interview. This is the only guy that Aaron Glenn could work with. There's no one out there that has the same principles on how to build a football team that Aaron Glenn has. Aaron Glenn can only work with this one guy, Newmark, who no one's ever heard of until 20 minutes ago. I'm sorry.
That's why I said
I'm give me a break. Give me a break.
I'm not out, but oh my God, do we need to dissect Newmark badly? We have to. Mentally as fans, you can't just sit there and be like, yeah, that guy, Lance Newmark, he's. That's what I
hope he's amazing. I hope he's Howie Roseman. Yeah. I just don't see why we need to give Aaron Glenn the choice of who he's working with. He's not
on it.
He's not. This is not hiring Harbaugh last year where he picked Joe Ortiz.
And to the point, like you're saying, there's a bunch of dudes that everyone throughout the league, I think, even this offseason, would know that could be stepping into that role perfectly throughout the league. I mean, Berganzi, there's a bunch of them. So it is kind of it's almost detrimental that we went and took all this time, about a month to select, and second now. How do you only have 2 finalists? That's for one each for the position. It's kind of odd, right? Who the hell goes 15 down to 2? Can you imagine you doing that with your bracket? It's craziness. You got to keep breaking it down. It doesn't make any, it sounds odd, and it's Woody. You know what I mean? He sees familiarity. He's probably like, let's get it done. I'm tired of this and make it happen. And to the point, usually the only time where familiarity is just 100% about it is when you're promoting from within, right? Harbaugh years ago, you move them up. You kept the same GMs. It was what it was, and that worked out. Tomlin, the list goes on. But that's when you're promoting from within. It doesn't matter. Familiarity obviously is there. But yeah, you're right to that point. That was a good tweet by that guy, for sure.
100%, Philly. Good call. Love the goatee. I hope Lance Newmark is awesome. I'm just questioning why it's okay, I get it. You love Aaron Glenn. This is the only GM this guy could work with? If Aaron Glenn is such a great candidate that all these other teams are interested in him, and Lance Newmark is the only way you could get him, at that point, just get me Brian Flores. I know Ryan Grigson was attached to him, but then Samini pushed back on that, saying that's Mark Grigson trying to align himself with Flores to get a job, not the other way around. It's just, I don't know. It's very frustrating. I hope it works. I do. I'm not trying to be negative. I'm just not going to sit here and be positive when I would be the biggest fraud. I have been saying for months I did not want 2 first-timers. And that's exactly what they're doing. So I hope it works. I want to be wrong. I want to come back a year from now and watch the Jets play in the AFC Championship game. But I don't have a whole lot of faith right now. Show me. I was as bought in to this team the last 2 years as I have ever been. Defended them every outlet I was on. This channel, ESPN New York, defended them on Mad Dog, which is a national outlet. Like I couldn't be more pro Jets as a national voice when so many in the media were tearing them down. And these people all look right after what happened. So now I got to go and just be all in on a first-time coach and GM? Show me. Win games. You haven't won more than 7 in a decade. Haven't made the playoffs in 14. Haven't won a division in over 20. Haven't won a Super Bowl in 56 years. Ray Jr. in the raffle for 5. Keep up the good work, Jake. When is the raffle? It's going to be next week. I'm thinking Monday or Tuesday again. We've been doing basically 1 or 2 raffles a week now since December. We've done more than that because this is actually going to be our 13th raffle. You're in for 5, right? Thank you very much. Jay Quest has issued a challenge. Beast Breaker, if you come on Jake's show and do 25 push-ups, I'll Venmo you $100. Just like YouTube takes 30% of all super chats and memberships, I am taking 30% of this Jay Quest. So if Beast does this, he will get $70 and I will get 30. That is the rule. More of your calls. Kyle Clifton is next. What's up, Kyle?
I'm not going to get upset about the Aaron Glenn hiring, even though the process is a little bit suspect. I hear what you're saying.
When did Aaron Glenn become Bill Parcells? That's all I'm asking.
No, I mean, I guess that's a fair question. I think it's a little insulting to Newmark, who I guess was a legit guy. But like this, I hear what the tweet was saying too, right? It's not that he's the only guy that he could work with, but there's a little bit more certainty that there is alignment between the two of them. That's all I'm seeing with those two. As far as did you happen to see PFT this morning?
I did not. No.
And Florio going in on the Jets, not nailing down Glenn and getting him signed before he left the building. Dysfunctional teams do dysfunctional things.
Yeah, I mean that. Unfortunately, he's right if they don't end up getting him, but I still fully expect the Jets to get this done.
No, but it made me think that what you're saying about us being in hell, there's some merit to it, right? Because it's a cycle, right? All these clickbait outlets, they go in on the Jets, whether it's real or not. You see overblown pieces from The Athletic where Woody is in the box watching the game, and he's asking a question about Aaron's injuries, and the next thing it's Woody wants him benched, right? Like this market can be so toxic for a guy, and I think that Revis has a shot. Rather, Glenn has a shot because he knows the market, and if he's truly aligned with the GM. He might know the pitfalls, and specifically the pitfalls within the building, better than a lot of other coaches would. That's all I'm going to say about that. I wish they had talked to McCarthy. I wish that they had, it could be entirely possible that John Eric Sullivan would be a better personnel guy than Newmark. I don't know. I don't know enough about it to say so. But if they're close, and Glenn and Newmark have a interpersonal relationship, then by all means, go with Glenn and Newmark.
Yeah, look, if they want to do it, fine. My thing is, why not just get Glenn signed at this point? Because clearly they're all in. He's their guy. We could agree or disagree with whether or not they should treat Aaron Glenn the same way they were going to treat Vrabel if he wanted this job. But Glenn's their guy. So sign him and let him sit on GM interviews and find a guy. He's like, we're so sure Lance Newmark is the only guy that could work with him, not someone experienced like Thomas Dimitroff, for example. We're so sure it only could be Newmark. That's what you interviewed 15 guys for the GM job. This is the only one that gets a second interview just because he knows Aaron Glenn well.
Can I say 1 or 2 things about Glenn versus Revis?
You played with Aaron Glenn, didn't you, Kyle?
Sure. So I go back a bit, probably as long as Crazy Gary, almost as long. I saw both of their careers. I was also a season ticket holder for a good chunk of Revis's career for 10 years and the 5 years that he was in his prime. Like it's apples and oranges. You're talking about a guy who was a technician who was probably the best hand fighter at that position that ever was, that knocked people off their routes. And the way that you judge someone like Revis is not with interceptions or with passes defensed or any of that nonsense. It's on how many of the elite receivers that he went up against on the week-to-week had decent games. And they never, ever did with Revis. So you can take, all these other tackles, and Revis was an ace tackler. If you want to compare him against Dion had, unprecedented size for his athleticism at that position in the late 80s, early 90s. And he was just dynamic when the ball would get in his hands. So there was a lot of flash plays. But Dion was a lousy tackler. He couldn't tackle anybody. Revis was a football player. He knocked people off their routes. He frustrated the hell out of guys. To me, he's the best cover quarter that ever was, and it's not particularly close.
I agree. Now, the thing with Revis is his prime was not as long as some of the all-time great corners, but there was no one better at that position in his prime than Darrelle Revis.
Right. 4-time first-team All-Pro, 7-time Pro Bowler, 2010's All-Decade Team, Super Bowl champion. I mean, the resumes are not really similar, although I loved Aaron Glenn as a player. He was great.
He was a fiery, scrappy guy, right? Had to earn his stripes, and I played that way, man. Like he was a perfect embodiment of how he seemingly projects to be a coach, right? Like that's his personality as a coach. The same thing. So,
well, I hope this cogent argument will help you put this raging Glenn versus Revis debate to bed.
God, man. Kyle, great points, man. I appreciate you.
Bye.
Yeah, I mean, just crazy. Hit the like button if you haven't. Comments, questions, super chats. We'll cut the line. I'm going to play a little Aaron Glenn, all right? For a couple reasons. One, I think more people need to hear him talk, and if you're iffy on it, maybe this will help you be a little more encouraged about the possibility of it working. And two, oh my God, do I have to use the facilities and drain the sea monster? BRB.
Why jump right back into this? Man, I'm going to tell you guys that I'm going to try to make this a quick story. So, and a lot of people don't even know this about me. Retired in 2008. Man, I owned 8 restaurants from 2008 to 2011. All right, you guys right there called Frenchies in Houston. Yeah, I actually owned 8 of them at one point. And they were doing well. Man, I actually had one in the Texan Stadium. All right, I had one right across the street, right from the Texas. So the players used to always come over and eat. Man, it was like a club on Sundays. All right, it was good and it was doing well. So, man, I'm at home. It's probably 2010. I'm at home and I'm watching SportsCenter or something like that. And man, I am cursing the TV out. I'm watching somebody play and I'm just cursing the TV out. They should have done this. They should have done that. All right. And my wife's in there and she was like, AG. I'm like, what? She said, go coach.
Right.
I'm like, wow. What do you mean? She said, listen, it's cool you doing your restaurant thing, right? And you like that. But you love ball. You love ball. And man, when I tell you a weight was off my shoulders after that, because I was like most guys, coming out, man, I have to be this big time businessman. I have to sit behind a desk wearing a suit and tie. And man, that wasn't me. And I'm doing something that I liked, but I didn't love. Right. And I want to make sure if I do something, man, my heart got to be in it. And once she told me that, I jumped right in it, man. And at that point, this is a saying I always say, I didn't stick my toe in the water to see if it was cold. I jumped right on in there. Right, and I scouted, in-house scout with the Jets a couple of years, then I went on the road. I was driving for hours, right, college scouting. Then I went right to being an assistant DB coach. I did my QC thing, because I want to make sure I didn't miss one step. I want to start from the bottom. I told everybody I was there, don't treat me any different than anybody else, right? Because I want to understand everything there is about the scouting process. I want to know everything about being a QC. I want to know everything about being an assistant coach, all right, to a lead DB coach, to a defense coordinator I am right now, right? And I'm hoping to be a head coach at some point. So I didn't want to miss one step, so you can't tell me that I haven't seen it, just like with a player.
Aaron Glenn, please be good. That's our hope. Also, can we get this done so we can start talking about his staff? Because then, even if you're not in love with the idea of Glenn being the guy, if he hires a good coaching staff, you'll be more encouraged at least. That'd be nice. Hit the like button. Motivational Means is up next on our show. What's up, Triple M? Man, Aaron Glenn put him to sleep. That's not good. That is not good. He went full V-man.
Wow. Now at least I'm not the only one. What's up? He's still asleep? Hello? Yeah, he's still out cold, man. Well, at least this will take some flack off of me. Dick, what's up?
Now, when Neil was the first caller today, the other guy who I was asked more about last night, besides Neil, is this guy online right now who might be sleeping. V-Man's up next. Hello, V-Man. Come on. V-Man, you up?
Yep. Yep. Sorry. Line is right. Line's freaking out. Sorry.
All right, a lot of people still want in on the conversation. Let's go to this guy right now. Let's play the intro and see if it wakes him up.
It's time for another V-Man call. Hopefully he's not sleeping. Adios mio.
V-Man? V-Man! Come on. Vincent, V-Man, I have coquito for you. V-Man, you've been named Puerto Rican Citizen of the Year. Wake up, sleepyhead. V-Man, wake up. Vincent? All right.
That's the end of that V-Man call. Now he can go back to sleeping.
He's still out.
Yeah.
I'll let you two handle it.
No, come on. Hey there. Look. You up, sleepyhead? Look, don't look. It now looks like he's waking up. Jeez. We got a cat. We got a cat. We have a cat, folks. Ladies and gentlemen, there's a. I don't know if you saw that. We have a cat.
Breaker 666. He's the man who would kick your ass, and then he'd gobble-goo.
Hey! Get up on your feet! Hey! I said, wake up on your feet! Get up! Motivation Media! Wake your ass up! Get up! Jake, get the bell! Ring the bell! We're not getting anywhere, Jake. This guy's been KO'd. Somebody throw the towel in and get a winner. We got nothing here. This guy's knocked out. I'll give him a count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You're out. You're out. V-Man is the winner. V-Man is the winner. Raise your hand in glory, V-Mac. You are the winner. Come here and support your king. Come here and support your masters. Now here's your winning fan. There you go. Hey, so too bad he's not here. That's okay. We can accept that. But to everybody on here, thank you. Hey, big fella, right here.
Now look what you've done.
Offensive line, defensive line.
Beast Breaker
Offensive line. The first thing I'm going to
666.
address-
No more protection from the Asmaniacs. Had to cut your call off and cast you down with the sodomites. Some time in here will feel like you've been run over by the lane train. Do you understand me? You catch my drift?
Are you seriously on crack? I think somebody
Give them another 24 hours to think about it.
How about you bending over and taking up the booty hole behind the 7-Eleven?
I got my Iron Uji. I hope you like my Jets take. You know they call me David T. It's not easy for me to see. Sometimes when I have a few drinks, I slip and fall and break my face. Not that my vision was bad enough. Now I have this dog shit scar. Hi, Jake. Hi, Jake. Hey, buddy. Time to say your piece on the Jake Asman show. Wake up, sir. You get the opportunity to be on the show. I guess if Beastbreaker couldn't have gotten you up, I don't think I would do a very good job. I got my Iron Uji. I hope you like my Jets take. You know they call me David T. It's not easy for me to see, but if you bring me full stream, you might like what I had to say. I'll need to get real damn close, cause my vision is dog shit.
Hi, everybody. This is Bob from Vermont. I am Bob, of course. Oh, Jake, I wanted to tell you, I called Burger King up. Guess what happened? I called up. She said she's in a lunch rush right now and then call back later. Even when I left the phone call, she said, okay, honey, bye now. She called me a honey. Okay, M&M, get your big butt up. Wake up, call for M&M. Wake up. This guy, wake up. Wake up. M&M, wake up.
Who's he, bro? I don't know.
Wake up. You're on camera. Wake up.
Oh, shit.
Oh, shit.
Yo.
You've been sleeping for 20 minutes on the camera. What are you doing?
Oh, shit, Bobby. My fault, Bobby.
Well, Jake played the bell horn. He got Beast Break arm, which tried to wake you up. V-Man. What?
I heard the bell horn. I heard it in my sleep.
So why can you get up and wake
All right,
up?
I'm up now.
Yeah, I'm
Bobby,
from New York. I got a big mouth. I'm from New York. I woke you up. Where are you from? Where you from?
Bob, I work nights, man. You know what I'm saying? I was sitting in the back.
That was one of my favorite moments in the history of the show. We did this for 20 minutes. I had 4 or 5 different people try to wake you up, and Bobby screaming at you. Finally did it, motivational.
No
oh my
way.
God.
No, where are you from? Motivational. Where are you from?
Oh my God.
New York. I'm from New York, but I live in Seattle.
Okay, what part of New York are you from?
Who cares about that, Bobby? I want to talk to Motivational Sleeper Media. That's your new name. Oh my God! Good job.
I
Bobby.
heard y'all. I heard y'all like in the subconscious state. I think I finally heard Bobby wake up, wake up. I look at the screen. I'm like, yo, shit.
I mean, we tried Beast Breaker, V-Man, David T, and then Bobby finally got you to wake up. I mean, I played the alarms. I mean, I played like 3 clips of V-Man sleeping. I mean, you were out, man.
All right, cool. I like that. Look, I had to get
It was a
online. There
motivational
was other
call.
callers. I'm like, all right, I appreciate it though. I'm back. I'm awake. I just wanted to say, like, I love the hire. I like the hire of Glenn because I grew up with Glenn. So it's funny, all these people talking about like how good. I don't know who dude was talking about how good he was and he was better than Revis. Now I'm like you. I saw every snap of Revis's career and like at least 80% of Glenn's. And I love Glenn. He was like one of my favorite players, if not my favorite player. But he wasn't Revis. He was just.
That's okay. It's crazy to me.
Yeah, it's insane. And if you really do your history, the Jets have a history of do your research. The Jets have a history of frontline corners. We had a real good one on the championship team. There was a real good one on the Sack Exchange teams. I can't get their names right now. And then you had Glenn. Opposite of Glenn was Marcus Coleman for a lot of years. He was pretty good. He wasn't like, he was Jet notoriety, but not like for everybody else. He's a pretty good player. We had Antonio Cromartie for years to play alongside Revis, and I think that really helped us a lot. But no, really good Jet player, and I'm hoping if he puts together a good enough resume as a head coach, maybe you can start talking Canton. We can't talk Canton right now with him. We're gonna talk Canton with Revis because that's where he belongs.
He's in there, man. I was there for it. He's in.
Absolutely.
100%. Well, motivational. I'm glad that you're awake. I'm glad that you could give us a Jet take after all that, and I highly encourage you to rewind and watch back the last 20 minutes of the show, and you might laugh a little bit.
All right, Jay. What does it take to get? I'm trying to get my numbers up so I could get in for Asmaniac for March Madness. Like, what does
you're
it
gonna be
take
in
to
it.
qualify?
I think this one call not only gets you in the tournament, but I think you might crack the top 10 monthly ranking for January. After your best call was you sleeping for 99% of it. That's pretty good.
I don't know if to be like happy or sad about that, but like I'll take it, man. I've been trying to get my numbers up anyway. So I salute to the chat, and I'll catch y'all next time, and I'll try to stay awake.
Ladies and gentlemen, Triple M checking in. What a great sport. Awesome call. He's making a run, man. I forget who had the comment, but it's so true. This show is the only show where we basically reward viewers who fall asleep waiting to get on. Oh, my God. From one expert on how to sleep during the Jake Asman show to another.
It's time for another V-Man call. Hopefully he no sleeping. Adios mío.
V-Man, what did you think of this saga? You're not the only one who's done it now. How does it make you feel?
Great. No one has. At least I'm not the only one who's going to get nagged for it.
That's right.
Also, I wanted to comment on that. On the Revis Glenn talk, there are two different types of cornerbacks, so you can't compare the two. Like, one is a ball hawk and one's a shutdown. They're different types. You can't compare the style.
It's not even compare. Aaron Glenn was an awesome corner. He was a multi-time Pro Bowler.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Absolutely.
But then the other thing is, it's like, and then the thing you said with his prime not being a long time, it's kind of like Sandy Koufax. Sandy Koufax didn't have a long prime. He's remembered as one of the greatest pitchers of all time. Like, nobody's going to sit. Like, there are few pitchers you will take in their prime other than Sandy Koufax. It's the same thing with Darrelle Revis. There are few prime guys you want other than like prime Darrelle Revis as a corner.
Also, so, like, could we acknowledge you just letting it rip with a Bacardi swig right there? It's 12:30 in the afternoon.
I need to do something to pass the time until this news comes out, because unfortunately, hopefully it comes out sooner or later, but it's too freezing cold outside for me to enjoy this.
A cigar? Go in the garage.
I don't have a garage. I live in a townhouse.
No garage?
I live in a town. Yeah, I live in a townhouse. I don't have.
All right.
It's like, where am I? Yeah, no.
Go to Bonesy's garage. He's not far from you.
Yeah, no. I hope that guy yesterday's interaction with the coffee guy. I hope that spotlight on your video got him some nice traffic on for his business.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, no, that'd be great. Yeah, no, with the stuff with the Glenn stuff, I just want to get this over, so we can see the staff, so we can, get to know not just the staff for Glenn, but also the front office. We can, I agree that I'm a little annoyed that we didn't get one veteran guy on either side, but I hope that they both bring in guys with past experience, to be kind of like, their right-hand man, if you will. That's what
I hope so.
That's what I want right now, because I like this rumor of Steve Wilkes as DC, because like I said, former head coach, he got the short end of the stick because the Cardinals just happened to pick the worst one of the worst busts of my football watching experience in Josh Rosen. Like, that's not his fault. That's not on him. Just let's be honest, the guy was awful. Nothing you can do about that. But I don't think he was I don't think he was some horrid head coach. He just had bad luck. Just going into a bad position, and he got canned for it. But I like that. I like his defense. I think hopefully I'm on the Clint Kubiak train for OC. I like him. Who's the other guy that they hinted at
for OC?
Yeah.
Scott Turner's name was brought up. Nick Caley's name was brought up. I like Caley, but we'll see.
We'll see. We'll see. Hopefully we get a good staff out of this.
Kubiak.
Yeah, I like Kubiak because I get it. Maybe it's me just on the name because we obviously know how good of a coach C. Gary, his dad was. Hopefully that rubbed off on him. But like I said, we just want to get this process over with, so we can see the staff, see the front office, and maybe we can calm some of the more I don't know what the term is for this worrisome members of this fan base.
I agree, V-Man. Hopefully they get it right, and you're officially no longer the only person that fell asleep on the air, so congratulations.
Cheers.
Cheers.
That's the end of that V-Man call. Now he can go back to sleeping.
Incredible. Big Cho Jet is next. What's up, Big Cho?
What's up? I called to show you my shirt, man.
That was fast. I ordered that for you not that long ago.
I know you last week.
Yep.
But I got it this morning. I went out to check my mail, and there it was. I was like, yo, I got to call the show and tell my boy, thanks, man.
I love it. I love it. Well, Big Cho, I appreciate your support. I know you recently started watching, so glad to get you on board.
Yeah, 100%, man, and trying to make a run to the tournament.
A lot of people want in the tournament, man. It's going to be tough to crack the field of 68. Keep calling, Big Cho. I could see you getting in there.
So, ironically, that's what I do for a living. I'm a college basketball coach.
Are you actually?
Yeah, for a Division II school in North Carolina. Yep, been coaching over 30 years.
What school? We got to give them some love.
Catawba.
Catawba. What's the team name?
The Indians.
The Catawba Indians. All right. Well, yes, let's go. Let's go, Big Cho. Are you Coach Cho?
Yeah, they call me Big Cho or Cho.
Love that.
Yeah, they slaughtered my last name because I'm really. That's how I come across when I do the little chat. I don't know how to fix it. Like when I put in a little chat in your show, it comes across with my real name, which is Concho Spasov. And Concho's where I got Cho. But they slaughtered my name, so they just call me Cho.
I love that. Well, I'll tell you what.
All the coaches call me Cho. All the players call me Cho or Big Cho.
We got to call you. We got to call you Coach Cho on this show.
Hey, whatever you like, man. I'm with you 100%.
I love it. Well, there you go, Coach Cho. I think you got a real chance of making a run now. Who knows?
I like it. Like, get in there and cut down the nets.
That's what it's all about, baby. Ladies and gentlemen, Coach Cho checking in. All right, let's go back to the great David T. He did his best to wake up Triple M. But ladies and gentlemen, we needed the full David T experience.
I got my Iron UG. I hope you like my Jets take. You know they call me David T. It's not easy for me to see. Sometimes when I have a few drinks, I slip and fall and break my face. Not that my vision was bad enough. Now I have this dog shit scar. Hi, Jake.
David, how are you?
I'm doing just fine. Hey, there's nothing wrong with taking a little snoozer or patiently awaiting to get on the Jake Asman show to, be able to say a few words. And my hat's off to Triple M. You could be I could never be in a dead sleep like that and wake up like that and be coherent right away. I would need a cup of coffee or two. So hats off to him.
He brought it. Great take, and once he got that little nap, you could just tell he was refreshed and ready to give takes.
Yes, he was pumped and ready to go, just waiting for his opportunity to talk to us. And could you imagine if you were a young kid and Beastbreaker was your dad, and his job in the morning was to try to wake you up to get you ready for to go to school? Oh my God, I don't think I would survive that.
I'll tell you what, Beastbreaker is some father, that you know.
Yeah, good stuff. But just one real quick Revis story. I can remember many years ago, it was the draft. I was when I was up in PA, I was sitting on my back porch listening on the radio to the NFL draft that year. And if I remember correctly, the Jets picked real close to Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh was ahead of them, and I think the Jets traded a position to get the opportunity to take Revis, if I have my facts straight. And
they traded up for him one spot in front of the Steelers to get him. Lawrence Timmons was the pick after Revis.
Yep, and because they had said that Pittsburgh wanted him in the worst way, also. So,
that was a great draft class, by the way. You had 4 Hall of Famers in that draft class. Calvin Johnson, Joe Thomas, Patrick Willis, and Darrell Revis were all a part of the 07 draft class.
Yeah.
And Adrian Peterson, so another future Hall of Famer. So you're going to have Marshawn Lynch is probably a Hall of Famer too. So you probably have 6 Hall of Fame players. Oh, Joe Staley's probably a Hall of Famer too. So 7. Greg Olson was really good, not a Hall of Famer. You might have potentially 7 Hall of Famers from that draft class.
And the neat thing about it is, you're saying potentially 7 Hall of Famers from that draft class. And on our behalf, the Jets are one of the teams to have a Hall of Famer from that draft class. So once in a while we hit on them, Jake,
That is true, David. Hopefully we hit on more going forward.
Yeah, and real quick about Aaron Glenn, it's really fascinating to hear everybody's opinion and everything. And we're at a point now where, he's going to be our guy. And I would like to reserve us Jets fans maybe the right to be a little skeptical. And, the bottom line on it is, like one of the old sayings, like with Robert Saleh, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me once, shame on ye. Wait, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on. I got this. I don't know if you know it. I got this backwards. Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you. Does that make sense?
Was your favorite president George Bush?
He wasn't my favorite president, but had he said that?
Oh, he said it all right. David, great call.
I got my INUG. I hope you like my Jets take. They call me David T. It's not easy for me to see, but if you bring me full stream, you might like what I had to say. I'll need to get real damn close, cause my vision is dog shit.
Incredible. If you thought George W. botched that one, David T. Incredible. That was great. That was a great George Bush rendition of that quote. Good call by David. Jason in Jerusalem's next. Hey, Jason.
But you can't get fooled again. At least somebody heard the George W. Bush quote. All that talk of Glenn versus Revis reminded me of an article that I actually wrote in a publication. Actually read in a publication that Troy Percival was better than Mariano Rivera, and Mariano was just had East Coast bias, which is why people liked him.
Oh my God.
It really took me back. That was probably one of the most ridiculous things I ever read. And the reporter who wrote it was being completely serious about it. Like save percentages, and he just didn't make the playoffs, but that shouldn't be held against him. Ridiculous stuff. With stats, you could do anything.
I mean, you know, people have crazy opinions. We get a lot of them on the show. That's probably the craziest one of all time.
Yeah. Still not as bad as Percival being better than Mariano, but still pretty close. Speaking about MLB Hall of Famers, I mean, how on earth could somebody not vote for Ichiro? I mean, that's just an embarrassment for the
Probably
game.
the same guy he didn't vote for Derek Jeter.
Exactly. It probably was the same guy.
These votes should be public. I think that's how these clowns can get away with it. Like it should be. The media is all about transparency and accountability. Then every Hall of Fame vote should be public. If you're not going to vote for Kurt Schilling because you don't align with his politics, or you're not going to vote for Ichiro because you want to be an asshole, then you should. It should be public.
Somebody doesn't vote for Ichiro, but yet Adam Jones gets 3 votes, and Russell Martin gets like 9 votes.
It's ridiculous.
And it's almost like they do it on principle. But Babe Ruth didn't have 100%, so therefore nobody should.
It's completely flawed, and it annoys me.
Yeah. Considering what's going on in Jacksonville, that they really wanted Cohen and he backed out, and seemingly he wants, from what I'm reading, that he backed out because he would work under Balky. I'm kind of waiting for the Jets tonight to say, hold my beer, and mess this up with Aaron Glenn, because that's just the Jets that I know and have grown up with.
But they're letting Glenn pick his GM, so I don't think that's going to be a problem.
Something will happen. Like I remember when I told you one of the previous shows, I went to bed thinking Matt Rule was going to be the head coach, and I woke up to Adam Gase.
I mean, I get it's the Jets, so you can't rule it out, but I think Aaron Glenn's going to be the coach.
I think he is. I hope he is. Talking about GM being in alignment with the head coach, McCagnon and Gase probably left a bad taste in the mouth on a lot of people in the organization. Remember Gase not being in the photos during the draft and not wanting to be part of the draft class because how we saw how McCagnon was drafting?
Yeah, I mean, even Gase was able to run McCagnon out of town. I mean, he got ownership on board.
Well, I mean, he was right about Lev Bell. I mean, Bell did nothing even after leaving the Jets. Lyle Powell was obviously the better running back for his system, even for the NFL. McCagnon just signed players without knowing how they fit into a system.
Yeah, I mean, McCagnon was a horrible general manager. There's no doubt. You know, he was bad. Izek was bad. You know, fortunately, Joe Douglas did a lot of good, but his record's abysmal. So, you know, it's a very complicated resume. You know, you could just say he's a bad GM. That's easy, but he did draft some really good players. Who did Mike McCagnon draft? He drafted Quinnen Williams 3rd overall. Great.
And some like CFL players and Division II players at 26 years old.
Yeah, look, hopefully, if Glenn swears by this guy, which it sounds like that's his guy, you hope Aaron Glenn, because of his scouting acumen, right? He started as a scout. You know, Parcells is his mentor. Parcells wanted to be the coach and GM everywhere he went. You know, I hope that Aaron Glenn has a true understanding on what it takes to be a good GM and what qualities he's looking for. I hope he's right.
I hope he's right too. I mean, I like the Glenn hire. He wasn't my top choice. Sure beat a lot of the others. I mean, looks like Shoddy's getting the job in Dallas. They just announced he's getting the second interview.
I did see that.
I like McCown.
McCown was your top choice?
Especially knowing that Flores wasn't getting McCown to go with him. To me, Glenn and Flores were like tied for 2.
Yeah, I think I'd be gung-ho on Flores if it was McCown as the OC, but, you know, you could sell me on McCown.
But, you know, I didn't want Grigson. I'd rather Newmark with Glenn than Grigson with Flores.
Yeah, Grigson I don't think is actually attached to Flores. I think Grigson was attaching himself to Flores, but Flores wasn't attaching himself to Grigson.
You talk, other than Dimitrov, which GMs that they interviewed had previous experience that you were comfortable with? Would you
Dimitrov
even consider?
intrigued me.
I said other than Dimitrov.
Yeah, I mean, like Ray Farmer getting a second chance after what happened in Cleveland and his value with what he does with the Rams under Snead was interesting. Really, it was just Dimitrov though that I was like really excited about. I just didn't want two first timers. Like I was very against two first timers, and if they were going to do two first timers, hiring someone who's been a GM before as like director of football ops, that to me would be a smart decision too, and that doesn't seem like that's happening.
Right. What was the guy who was in Houston? Gain? I mean, do you even
Brian Gain,
consider that?
Yeah, Brian Gain was another name I liked.
Do you even consider that previous experience, considering what was going on in Houston there with Easterby and everything?
Yeah, it's experience, and he also dealt with a dysfunctional organization, crazy ownership. Like, I think that's valuable, and he'd do a better job. Also, like, to your point, Gain never really got to be a GM. He had the title, but he had Bill O'Brien breathing down his neck.
Right. So he basically would have been a first timer either way.
A first timer that has actually been in the GM chair before and has run a draft, two of them. Like, I think it's valuable.
Right. All right, Jake, I got to go. It's been a great show, and I love the auto caption here that a bunch of callers were trying to get, somebody to wake up, and Bobby succeeded.
Bobby was just relentless. He just started yelling and screaming. Imagine being woken up to Bobby Midnight yelling at you on a Jet YouTube show.
I got teenagers I wake up every morning, so I'm used to this stuff. I mean,
well, Jason, I appreciate the call, man. Good job.
Keep it up.
Jason in Jerusalem. How about it? Ladies and gentlemen, Bobby called back in not to wake Triple M up, but to provide an update on his job interview with BK. So let's get that right now. But quickly, let me get to a super chat here. They cut the line. There's two of them. And if you want in, last chance to gift a membership to be in our raffle. Kyle says, the real question, why did it take Wagner so long to get into the Hall? Probably because his playoff numbers suck. That's why. I thought Billy Wagner deserved to get in, but his playoff numbers aren't good. That's probably what the holdup was. Jarrow writes in, line of the day. Jake, hey, Gary, crazier Gary. LMAO almost drove off the roads before. Hysterical. Jarrow, thank you. This has been an all-time show. There's been like 10 all-time moments in 1 2-hour show. Unbelievable. All right, let's get an update on Burger King.
Hi, everybody. This is Bob from Vermont. I am Bob, of course. Well, I called her, and she answered the phone, and I said, can I speak to the manager, please? And I said, she said, yeah, I'm the manager. And I said, she says, I'm kind of busy right now because we're in the lunchroom. I said, oh, yeah, I understand. Yeah, I don't want to be a manager. I agree. It's very busy being a manager, and then I'd rather be a regular worker. So she goes, after lunch, I'm going to look at the application. She was on break, the weekend. So 2 days it takes her she's going after today. And then when she hung up, she said, okay, goodbye, honey. And she said, goodbye, honey. I didn't even know her. She called me honey.
So what do you think that means? Do you think she wants to make sweet love to you?
I don't know, but I'd rather have a job if she calls me honey. That doesn't sound like she's turning me down.
It sounds like there could be some sexual harassment going on, though.
Oh, I don't mind. She had a pretty voice.
Okay, it's good to know you don't mind.
Yeah, no. It gets me job. It gets me job. What can I tell you? I'm a sex symbol. I can tell you. Yeah, no. I'm happy if it goes through. Yeah,
you're happy.
So, we might have an update because I think lunch ends around 3:30 at Burger King. So be like 2:30, and then before when Jeff, I'll get you the update.
So are you going to have to fill out an actual application, or do you think you have the job?
No, I already did it online. They do it online.
Okay. And there's no interview process? You're good?
No, I think there's an interview process. So I just want to see if I could get an interview. Yeah.
Yep. Well, I hope you do.
Yeah, I know. I'm getting excited. I think it sounds popular. Yep. I'm right down the road from Burger King. You can ask Nate and Edison and Clancy right down the road. I am not too far. So when Michael works at nighttime, he'll pick me up, drop me off, and then I'll work the morning shift to the early afternoon shift. and then Michael could go to work, drop me off home, and go back to work at 4:30. So that will work out. I like to get up early. I don't like to work the graveyards.
I see.
The nights, I like the morning shift. I'm an early rising. All right.
Interesting comment here from Ted. He says, Bobby, I love you, but you have to stop mumbling.
Well, Ted, first of all, when you call in, you're a pot stirrer. So goodbye. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I am not mumbling, so be quiet, mumbler. Okay? You're done.
Tom says, maybe put Mikey as a reference.
Oh, Mikey. Yeah, I could do Mikey as a reference. Mikey was hilarious today, wasn't he?
Ladies and gentlemen, Triple M has called back in. Triple M, after watching back the footage, what were your thoughts?
Oh man, it was epic.
What part of New York are you from? I wanted to know.
Who cares about what part of New York he's from?
I wanted to know. I wanted to know.
That was a lifetime ago. All I got left in New York is my voice, my accent.
Okay, what part of New York are you from?
Hold on a second, Bob.
Oh, the delay. He has the YouTube show on as he's on the show. It's fooling him.
Yeah, 1 second. Hold on. I didn't think you was gonna put me back on, Jake. I was just gonna put in the chat, in the private chat, like thanks to the callers. Like those are some of my favorite callers. It would have been great if I was awake and I could have talked to him. I'd have loved to talk to Beast Breaker. A 10 count.
Well, he's in the hole. You can't talk.
Off of a 10 count.
Put him in the hole. You can't talk.
Yeah, if someone wants to get Beast Breaker out of the hole.
No, nobody wants. No. We're not doing that.
No, get Beast Breaker out of the hole. Let him talk to Motivational Means Media. Come on, let him out. Let him out. 10 memberships will get Beast out. Let him talk to Triple M.
Okay, I just want to know what part of New York he's from.
Brooklyn.
Oh, Brooklyn. I was born in the Bronx, moved to Queens. Okay, thank you very much. You can talk to him. Bye now, Jake.
All right, bye, Bobby.
Bobby. I wanted to tell Bobby too, because he kind of rankled me earlier because he stayed bringing up the Giants. Like, I don't think anybody here cares about the Giants. I know I don't. I hate the Giants. Traditionally, I don't know if Bobby know they were a horrible landlord. It was unfortunate that we have to share a stadium with them. They were a horrible landlord to us. They stiffed us on revenue, on game day revenue. There's a lot to it. The Giants are a horrible organization, and they can't do bad enough for me. I was glad to see Saquon go to the Eagles and have the season that he had. Lots of egg on the Giants' face. Hey, how about another season of Tommy DeVito, Giants fans? We don't want to hear about the Giants. Guck defiance.
I love it. Triple M, I'm glad that you got to watch the footage, and thanks for being a memorable part of this show. We'll go down for the ages.
Hey, they stiffed us on. They screwed us on out of the West Side Stadium. Also, I don't think it was the Knicks. I don't know if you know that story.
I thought that was more Dolan than anything else.
I don't think it was. I think it was the Giants got in his ear and let him know like he was going to be losing a lot of revenue, and we were going to make them irrelevant if we're playing downtown Manhattan on Monday night, really making the league forget about the Giants. And I think it was them who got in the Knicks because they up until the 11th hour, they didn't care.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because the fact that the Jets don't have their own stadium, but a soccer stadium is going next to Citi Field, like that's where they put it.
I don't know why they didn't plot with them to make that an NFL qualified stadium right next door to Citi Field to get away from the Giants. Oh man, I hate that organization. All right, I'll let you go, man.
I appreciate it. Triple M checking it. All right, a few calls left, then we'll wrap. Let's say hello to Mikey Midnight. Mikey.
Yay! How you doing?
It works.
You hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Jake, I think Glenn will bring the Jets to the Super Bowl next year. Cause he's
I hope so,
awesome.
Mikey.
I think it's gonna have the defensive guy Wickens. You say Wickens, something like that. He's awesome, and the other guy, they should have all the offensive coach with the Jets with him. Super Bowl, here we go. And I think we could do it. You know why?
Why?
Glenn, he would talk to defense and offense. He promised us he would talk to offense and defense. No one did it. No only coaches did that. Nobody. I did. I said it. I called Woody Johnson. Keep him in the building. Let me love him. He wants him back. Woody
Love that.
Johnson loves him. And I love you too, Jake.
Hey, Mikey, what was the issue earlier? You figured out how to call from the kitchen now? You think you figured out what
Bobby, but I think Bobby cut me off. I think Bobby cut me off because I went to the kitchen so many times. And here's my plan. If my friend Eric Glenn, my buddy, he's my true buddy. He knows me. I told him I love him, not in a gay way, but I love him very much. I go tell him, Super Bowl champion. He's going to sign at 4 o'clock before I go to work. He's going to sign with the Jets at 4 o'clock before I go to work.
All right, 4 o'clock. I'll be live. I'll be live when he becomes the Jet coach officially. All right.
Yeah, I know. And then you could tell Aaron Glenn, I love him and his new friend. They're going to have something different too. They're going to have a lot. You know, the Jets would be different. I like Rex Ryan. I was a Rex Ryan fan for a long time. But if he be a defensive coach with Aaron Glenn, they'd be kicking butt all over the place.
That's right.
You know,
That's
Aaron
right.
Glenn. Yeah. So if he kept, if Aaron Glenn picked Rex Ryan as defense, and we screwed up, Rex Ryan could beat the coach next time. So you can't screw up this time. Woody Johnson has money. I thought that the guy from the what to call it the other team will take over. But I want you. I like you, Jake Asman. You're my best friend too.
I love you, Mikey. I'm glad you called in. I think you have a chance to make a serious run against your brother in Asmaniac Madness.
No, I want to be tied. I want to be tied with him. I want to be tied.
You guys might meet in the finals. Who knows?
The Jets against the Giants. Bobby's a Giant. I'm a Jet. And I know the Jets will come up big. I don't care. I like Beast. You know Beast? You know the Beast guy?
Oh, I know him. He's in the hole right now.
But who cares? I think he doesn't mean that. He's like me. I would get mad too. These Jets players are stinky.
Tell the chat to save Beast. Tell them that you want him back from the hole.
I want Beast. Me and Beast will train the Jets up in 2005. Me and Aaron Glenn and the Beast will train the Jets at Super Bowl, and we go play Detroit Lions in the Super Bowl.
I love it. Let's do it.
In 2000, it said 2006. It said 2006. The Jets go play Detroit Lions. I think that's the Super Bowl prediction I'm picking. And the Jets go be 12-5.
Mikey,
I don't know how many.
From your lips to God's ears, all right? 12-5 in the Super Bowl with Aaron Glenn next year.
Yeah, Aaron Glenn will listen to me because he knows him. He knows me. I love him. I thought Rex Ryan loves me. I think Aaron Glenn loves me more now. Aaron Glenn loves me more.
Beastbreaker says the real people want me. I agree, Beast. Look, you know what? I'm going to make my own rules here. I'll bring Beast back for 1 minute for 5 memberships, all right? Won't even be the full 10 bounty.
Let me talk to Beast. Can I talk to Beast? I never got to talk to him.
I'll have you talk to Beast, but someone's got to get him back from the hole.
Me. $1. Come on.
$1. I mean, it's going to cost more than $1.
Guys. Let me talk to Beast. I train him. He won't be nasty anymore. I'll go tell him.
Yeah, Mikey will talk to him. We'll train him.
Yeah, I'll go train him. I'll be the trainer. I'll go be the trainer. I love that guy. He makes me piss in my pants.
He's a funny guy at times.
Yeah, I know. He acts crazy, but he has a lot of things on his mind because he has family problems. I know that. He said that he had family problems. But big deal. Who cares?
I know. I don't have Beastbreaker because he's in the hall, but I do have Beltbuster 666.
Yeah, let me see.
Hey, everybody. Hey, you be quiet. The
Oh,
genetics
it's
family
Gator,
are
it's
really
Gator.
strong. Holy shit. Hey,
It's
I'm the real
Gator,
belt breaker
yeah.
69, okay? Before I get to the haters and the losers, big shout out to Ichiro, a real Japanese. He was great despite being smaller than most of my shit. And I would know about Orientals
like
because
it,
I went to
Gator.
Japan. I went to Japan and I was the second heaviest thing ever delivered to them by airplane. And Darrell Revis,
Gator, you're
Revis
funny.
Island. I came up. I motivated the Revis Island idea. He saw me swimming in the
Yeah,
ocean
me
one day. I was
too,
floating on my
Gator.
back,
I
and he
love
thought
it.
my
I love
big
it,
belly
Gator.
was an island. So he said, "Hey, that's a good idea." You're probably wondering why I'm wearing this hat. That landing strip on top of my head was getting me in some real trouble. Black guys kept hitting on me because they thought I was a fat chick's taint on top of my head. Hold on a second. I'm having a real hard time breathing. Hold on a second.
Yeah, Gator,
Oh,
Gator, don't
shit.
worry.
I had
Don't
too
get
much
choked.
sausage for
Don't
breakfast.
choke.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, don't choke, Gator. I love it.
That was a Gator, Mikey.
Who is that?
That was Beltbuster 666.
Well, I thought it was the Gator always have different things. It makes me funny. I want peace. I want to talk to peace, please.
Well, I'll tell you
Bring
what,
him out
Abu Dhabi just paid $20. He says, Jake, you're everyone's best friend today. Let's go AG31. 5 raffle entries for Abu Dhabi, and we will temporarily bring back Beastbreaker from the hole so him and Mikey Midnight can chop it up.
You know what time it is? A Beastbreaker 666. I'm gonna take my fist and shove it up your ass, and then he gotta go.
Had a little bit of ice there. Hey, it's a cold day, but when you need something to drink, you gotta get something to drink. How you doing there, Mikey? How you doing?
Peace. What happened?
That's right.
Peace.
That's
I
right.
love
That's
you.
right.
Yeah, peace. I love you. You're my best friend in the whole world.
Hey, come here. Come on down here,
Stretch.
Mikey,
Stretch.
where's your
You
camera?
gonna kick butt this year. I want you my coach. I want you as my coach. I love you. You're my Bobby's, but you know Bobby. You know
can't hear
Bobby.
anyone.
Yeah. I know you know Bobby. Yeah. You are the best. You're my best friend in the whole world. Yeah. Peace. Peace. I love that guy.
You want me to spot you?
No. Peace. Hallelujah. You're the best. He's good guy. You're a good guy. I know everybody misunderstand you, but you're the greatest stretch fan like I am. I'm mad at the stretch right now. I want Aaron Glenn to be in the Super Bowl with me. I mean, he just carry me on the field. And Mikey told me to win the Super Bowl. He did, right? You're my buddy too, right? Yeah, I'm Bobby's brother. Bobby.
Breaker 666. He's the man who would kick your ass, and then he's gabagoo.
I couldn't understand what anyone was saying there. I have no idea what was even being said by each of them, but I'm glad Beast got to meet Mikey Midnight and vice versa. And Beast, I'm glad that shirt fits, man. Looks good. The Asmaniac hat, the t-shirt, love it. Tyrone, super chat. Always drama with the Jets. Simply hiring has become a soap opera, and other teams the next day has the coach agreeing, screw this guy, get McCarthy. So you don't like Aaron Glenn because he hasn't agreed yet? He's telling people he's taking the job. He's trying to hire a staff right now. Let the Jets and his agent work it out. It'll be fine. Don't worry, Tyrone. Look, if I could press a button and get McCarthy, though, yeah, I would do that too, but that's not an option. Unbelievable. Adam says, Jake, this isn't your show anymore. You're right. Gator says, Jake bought Beast 3 shirts in the largest size and sewed them together to make one shirt. No, stop it. All right. 2 more calls. Then this show's going to end, and then the Jets will immediately hire another coach, and I'll have no time to do anything else today besides just be live. Jersey Jet and Charleston Jets will be our last 2 callers. What's up, Jersey?
Hey, what's going on, Jake? What's up,
How are you,
chat?
man?
I just want to know one thing. Who reported that Glenn is picking his GM?
I mean, it's obvious.
It's obvious? It's not obvious to me.
Why not?
Because when does that happen?
What do you mean? They were going to let Mike Vrabel do it.
Vrabel was the only person that they said would do it.
Right, but right now the Jets don't have any second interview scheduled with any other candidate. It's another day today where they're not interviewing anyone. So all signs point to the fact that Aaron Glenn is their guy. They're trying to hammer a contract out with him. It's reported they have an offer on the table and they're negotiating. So clearly, Aaron Glenn is saying, I'm good with Lance Newmark. That's my guy.
I think that's a false narrative, Jake.
How? Why haven't they interviewed anyone else?
I don't know, but why put it on Glenn?
Because Aaron Glenn is
what
saying,
power does Glenn have to choose his own GM?
He has the power to do it. That's literally what's happening, Jersey Jet. I don't agree with it, but that's literally what is
I've
happening.
scoured everything, and I can't find where they say Glenn is picking the GM.
They interviewed any candidates besides Newmark in person. He's the only
You'd
one.
have to ask Tannenbaum in the 33 team, but
because Glenn is their guy, and they're letting him pick the GM he's going to work with. That's what's happening here. You think if Aaron Glenn said, "I don't want Lance Newmark," he would be getting the job? You think it's Lance Newmark saying, "Hey Jets, get me Aaron Glenn"? You think that's what's happening, Jersey Jet? Come on, man.
I watched you guys do the same thing to DJ Reed. I watched DJ Reed's interview, and he said, I'm good with my bag. I'd rather win than the money. He said, winning is more important than money. The next day, you guys said he wants out.
With Aaron Glenn picking the GM he wants to work with when he's the Jet coach. What does DJ Reed have to do with that?
False narrative. You guys take something somebody says and turns it into something else.
It's not a narrative. It's literally what is happening right now. Why do they not have any other GM interview scheduled this whole week? Why?
Because of Glenn? Come on, Jake.
Because Glenn said, that's who I want to work with. Yes, that's exactly what happened, Jersey Jet. Tell me why that is not true. Tell me what is not true about this perceived narrative. It's not a narrative.
Because I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it anywhere.
What do you mean you haven't seen it? What do you think's happening right now? If you're the Jets and
I don't know what's happening because I'm not behind the scenes.
So what do you think?
None of us know.
Jersey Jet, we do know because right now there's no other interview scheduled with any GM candidate. So tell me, right? How?
Okay,
Aaron
so
Glenn
maybe Brick likes him.
I'm sure they like him because Aaron Glenn likes him. You think of Aaron Glenn, you honestly think if Aaron Glenn said, hey, I don't want to work with Lance Newmark would be getting this job interview right now?
I don't know nothing about Newmark. I don't even know who the guy is.
Yeah, Aaron Glenn does. That's why he's getting the job.
Okay, Jake. Jets, Jets.
Go Jets. Oh, my God. That was almost as bad of a call as the guy saying Aaron Glenn's a better corner than Darrell Revis. Almost. Oh, my God. What are you talking? They have no other interviews scheduled with anyone. These are their guys. You think if Aaron Glenn said he didn't want Lance Newmark, he would get the GM job? What are you talking about, man? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to send Jersey Jet to the hole or Stupid Town because he's a good guy. But I am going to send Larry Romano to the hole for saying Guy was absolutely right because he's just trying to troll. See ya.
Just shut the fuck up. I did not ask for the dim opinion that came out of your ass, so shut the fuck up.
I just, I can't. Charleston Jets, close us out. Charleston, what do you got?
Hey, man, after all that, I'm glad you even took my call. I tell you what, to be the last call on a day like this, wow.
What a show.
First you got 3M no longer sleepless in Seattle. You know, then you got the originator of sleeping on the Jake Asman show trying to wake him up. Then Bobby Knight's got a new girlfriend. I mean, come on, if she calls him honey, she's got to watch some of that.
Bobby Midnight is going to get a job and experience sweet love, it sounds like, all at the same time at Burger King. It's truly amazing.
In the back cooler. Bring it on, Bobby. It's not going to be Bobby Midnight no more. It's going to be Bobby Cooler Love. But the video of Beast, the whole karate thing, is that legitimately him?
Oh,
like,
yeah, he's an athlete.
He literally got up in his karate outfit and did that for you?
Of course. Beast is all about show business.
What did you have to give him a shirt, or was it just like, hey, Jake, I got a video for you?
Well, I sent him a shirt and hat, which you saw him wearing today, you know, as a thank you for the support of the channel.
I love it. And I know he gets mad at everybody when they bring his voice up, but a few days ago when you had a poll, when he lost, I actually voted to bring him back. So please don't come after me, Beast.
This is what I'm saying. Half the chat loves him. The other half hates him. And but you have an opinion on the guy. That's the bottom line.
Anyways, I just wanted to do a quick follow-up from my first call the other day. You know, the whole, not deciding to go the offensive guy route. I think most of us true Jet fans are going to support Aaron Glenn. You know, we're going to put all our hopes. Yeah, we're going to put all our hopes into him, you know, and I couldn't agree with you more as far as him picking the GM. I mean, I understand he's a sought after guy. I really do. But I don't think it's so much to where, hey, we got to let this guy pick the GM. Because if we lose him, oh boy, what the hell are we going to do for a coach this time around? I mean, that really doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
Well, if they lose him, I mean, it like at this point you have to get him, because unless
we look like a joke if we lose him.
100%, especially if the pivot is not someone good like Brian Flores or Mike McCarthy. Like if it's Arthur Smith, this fan base, like a lot of fans were not thrilled with the Glenn hiring, but if this ends up being Arthur Smith and they botch this, which I don't think they will for the record, but like, yeah, I mean, it's going to be one of the worst days ever if it's Arthur Smith.
It's going to be Glenn. There's no doubt about it. You know, just like when Saleh left the building, everybody was like, how could you let him leave the building? Like you said, he's just getting some coaches together. There might be some fine points they got to get on his contract, whatever.
His agent's trying to get as much money as possible, which is his right.
Yeah,
that's what's happening. You know,
that's his job.
Like,
you know,
they clearly are going to do whatever it takes to get him, because they have no other interviews scheduled. So if something falls through, it must have gone horribly wrong. Like, and there's no way the Jets care way too much about the PR to allow that to happen at this point. They made their bed. They want Glenn. Hopefully they're right with the decision.
You know, the thing about this whole process to me that and you've touched on this, but I've literally never heard of another team interviewing the sheer volume of coaches and GMs this time around. And yet we can only find one of each to do a second interview. That makes absolutely no sense to me.
Which, if Glenn's your guy, fine. I don't understand why Lance Newmark is the only GM out of the 15 you spoke to that has to be like, I don't need Glenn to have his guy. Like, find a qualified guy who aligns with the same football philosophy as Aaron Glenn. If they don't know each other, that doesn't automatically mean they can't get to know each other, hit it off, and be a better fit. Like, with all due respect to Lance Newmark, he was not a name that people were throwing around as a top candidate going into this cycle. Hopefully he is, and Glenn's right about him, but I don't know why Aaron Glenn, who has never been a head coach before, is essentially picking the GM that he's going to work with. I understood it if it was Mike Vrabel. I got that. Aaron Glenn might be a good coach. He might be Robert Saleh 2.0. We don't know yet.
And according to Shefty, he's so widely known, he's, Mr. Newark.
Schefter, the biggest NFL insider on the planet, botched his name in a tweet. Yeah, you know, Jets.
I'm sorry, but if we do hire this guy, to me, he's going to be Newark the whole time because it legitimizes everything I was complaining about. We just keep doing the same damn thing over and over and over again. Like, who is this guy? Oh,
Well,
Aaron
hold
Glenn
on. I'll tell you
Okay.
why how you won't. 2026, he trades up, nails the quarterback. We finally have a franchise quarterback. He'll be in the Jet Ring of Honor someday, Lance Newmark, if he finds his franchise its future Super Bowl winning quarterback again.
I think they should rename Newark Newmark if that happens, to be completely honest with you.
Maybe they will.
He get the whole goddamn place named after him if he could hit out a quarterback. I mean, you think back to all the quarterbacks we've taken, and I mean, I was just thinking about this the other day. I mean, obviously we all know this, but it's like I was just revisiting it the other day. We could very easily have Josh Allen. There's just so many times. You go back to when we got a draft pick for Bill Belichick. Obviously, Tom Brady would have been here, which obviously now I hate Tom Brady. I'd never want his name associated with this team. But the point is, it's just the Jets doing the same old thing. I mean, I'm going to root for this Newark guy, Aaron Glenn, the whole boxing guy. That guy's ridiculous, man. And he's trying to say that you don't know what you're talking about because you're young. Well, I'm in the same age range. And to talk about stats with a guy like Revis, who wouldn't even be throwing the ball. I remember that one year he faced Randy Moss, 2 catches for 23 yards. He would face just, Ocho Cinco, 1 catch for 10 yards. It was the top wide receivers week in and week out. If they got 3 or 4 catches for 50 yards, what's wrong with Revis?
100%.
What's wrong with Revis?
For what it's worth, it was 2D Gary, not 3D Gary. It wasn't the normal Gary.
Yeah. But I mean, that was just one of the most ridiculous takes I've ever heard. I mean, to me, the top 2 cornerbacks of all time are Primetime and Revis, and I wouldn't be mad at anybody if Prime was just so good at closing. I mean, he would literally bait quarterbacks into throwing the ball and then close 6, 8, 10 yards. I mean, I think Revis's overall shutdown skills were better, but just physical talent to Prime Time. I mean, to me, you could put 1A, 1B. I'm not going to argue with either one of those as far as all time.
100%.
Now, Aaron Glenn, before Revis, you could make an argument was, if not our very best cornerback ever, a top 3 cornerback ever. But once Revis comes into the equation, man, it's not even close.
Yeah.
It's like comparing like a billionaire model to like your high school girlfriend. You know what I mean? Like a Giselle Bundchen to the hottest girl in your high school. It's like no comparison.
It's a millionaire to a billionaire. I mean, it's like you'd love to be a millionaire, but like you can't compare the wealth of a millionaire to a billionaire. Like come on.
Exactly. I mean, Glenn was great for us as Jet fans. I mean, I loved Aaron Glenn back in the day. And I hope he does. I love the storyline of, former Jets player, was a scout. That interview, I never seen that before, where he talks about he's literally been the quality control guy. He's done every step. I mean, I like that. That because
he has a great resume. He would make sense for a lot of teams. I just think given the Jets' history, given
we
where
need
they're at, or someone like Vrabel or Flores or McCarthy that have won a lot of games in this league and have been experienced.
I mean, I made my point the other day. I personally would rather go with the first-time offensive guy than the most seasoned defensive guy, just because, after being a Jets fan for 41 years now, it's like I just want them to try something different. What's it going to hurt? What's it going to hurt? Because we know Woody's going to give these guys 4, 5, 6 years. It's like, what is it going to be? Almost 20, 30 before we maybe get a chance at an offensive guy if this doesn't work? Like, seriously, I mean, my genes don't last. I'm not going to live to be 100. I want to see a Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? I'm not even greedy so point as saying that I want to win a Super Bowl. I just want to see a Super Bowl.
I agree. Charleston, great call, man. Look, you're right. It's just the bottom line is you just hope it works. J-Quest, holy bleep, Jake's still on. Not for long. 3 hours in the books. Watch them hire Glenn 5 minutes after the show ends, and we're back again. Plans to be live around 3:30. I'm going to ask Jeff if we actually can push it back. So check the Discord for updates. What a day. What a show. One we'll be talking about for years to come. Thanks to everyone who called in. Please, if you don't mind, join the Patreon. Be a part of it, baby. It's where the magic happens. Get in the Discord. Chop it up with your favorite Asmaniacs. It's patreon.com/Jake Asman Show. Anyhow, thank you all to your support. We're back on Glenn Watch this afternoon. Stay tuned for that. JETS. Jets.
I hate this team. I hate them. I hate them.